Oh, it's the 2-minute warning at the Cotton Bowl. And if I'm already wearing this color, that means it's in the bag. Look at that score, Longhorn fans. Texas leading Oklahoma 34-3. We're just trying to figure out the final score. It is the Orange Bloods Live postgame show, live from TCH Social. As always, brought to you by the Lowy Law Firm. Shout out to the Lowy Law Firm first and foremost. Obviously, shout out to our new home for the post game show. You never know. TCH Social Austin. It's one of Ketch's favorite places anyway. And after today, it's going to be one of my favorite places. It'll be one of yours as well. I'm Chad Hastings. That, of course, is Jeff Ketchum. We're sitting together for a rare opportunity. Rare. How are you?
Look, man, the answer to that question, like the honest one, is it is. I'm always great when Texas doesn't lose this game because – the website goes off the rails otherwise.
Yeah, and I imagine things have definitely calmed down over the last couple hours. Texas certainly ends up controlling this ball game in the end. And so we would love to get y'all's thoughts. Jump in with super chats as always. We love it when you throw something in the tip jar. What did you think? Texas covers, ends up covering very easily. And as they head towards, they're under a minute, 34-3. Looks like it might be the final. We'll see. It's like OU with the ball just across midfield. And we'll let you know a final. But Ketch, they looked obviously, way better than OU today. But in terms of the overall performance, how do you size it up for what you saw from Texas today?
It's a strange game because I think the 49-0 game was more competitive than today's game. I think what stands out to me about today's game is that Texas played a C game. Maybe C+. And maybe you'd look at the defense and say, look, the defense played at an A level, so maybe it brings the overall grade up a little bit. Texas left a lot of points on the scoreboard today that in a tougher game, you'd say, you can't miss that touchdown pass, and you can't miss that touchdown pass, and you can't do some things that they did today. From an Oklahoma standpoint, this is the most feeble attempted performance from an OU team that I've ever seen. And that we could even talk about this in the scope of 49-0 is a reality because this game could have been 55-3 right now. Texas left points on the board. It's 34-3. They went for it at the 12 and didn't get it. Ewers misses a touchdown early in the game. Matthew Golden misses a touchdown in the second quarter. This is just kind of a very ho-hum Texas win. There will be elements of this game that will stand out, but, this was business as normal. This Oklahoma team is exactly what we thought they were, really.
Yeah, and maybe even less.
They are less because they're not as good on defense as they think they are.
Like, I don't feel silly for thinking Texas could score 55 today. I do feel silly for thinking Oklahoma could score 17 now.
I said 20, but I did that baking in a defensive touchdown or a special teams touchdown.
Yeah.
Or maybe even a late fourth quarter touchdown. Like maybe they'll get before this game is over with. There's still less than a minute to go.
That's really the only drama now is will Texas give up a touchdown in this ball game? They're going to, either way, they're going to cover because it was at 17 at the kick.
Correct.
This is not about the cover at this moment. So they're going to cover. The issue is, can the defense have the pride of you didn't allow a touchdown?
We said all week, or at least I did, and I think you agreed with me, certainly based on the way that you predicted the score of this game to go, sorry, I was paying attention to see whether or not Oklahoma was going to score a touchdown. This ends up being a 17-point spread. But when it was at 14 and a half, creeping up to 15, it felt like that number was predicated on the decal on Oklahoma's helmet. That there was this is about OU respect and not about what we think is going to happen in this game. Although Vegas, typically, that's not how they operate. But it felt like they gave Oklahoma some respect there. And it felt like I said coming into the day that I thought Oklahoma was the 14th best team in the SEC. Today, they look like that. Today, you understand why they probably should have lost to Auburn. And if you're Texas, don't make a whole lot out of this. You've got Georgia next week. You've got a road test at Vanderbilt, which will be tougher than this game. Maybe the most damning thing that you can say about this from an Oklahoma standpoint is Vanderbilt will absolutely be more competitive than OU was in this game.
No, it's no doubt.
And, there's that chant after Texas beats Aggies. It's the one that Aggies hates, that poor Aggies chant.
Right.
If there was ever a day where you were ever going to say, poor Sooners, they were awful. We were literally, you and I were talking in the second quarter when it was 14-3. What does the score need to be before they start walking out?
Yeah.
And it turned out 24-3 was the answer.
Yeah, 24-3 is when you saw the folks on that side start to go, and that is the final, gang. We've heard some clapping here at TCH Social. Let's throw up the graphic officially. There it is. It is over. 34-3. Texas is 6-0. They win the 120th edition, and Sark is now 2-1 against OU. Sark is that right? Do I have that right?
2-2.
Sark is 2-2. Quinn is 2-1.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Got to get those OU records straight for everybody. And if you want to jump in with super chats, which some of you already have, feel free to do that. Jason Suchomel of Orange Bloods is going to jump in with us here on the postgame show, and Anwar Richardson live from the Cotton Bowl with his thoughts. First and foremost, let's just thank Bubster86 for throwing a $1.99 at us and a hook'em. Thank you, Bubster. We hope you enjoyed the game. Our man Oscar is in with a $19.99 super chat. Quinn could be better, but let's call it a warm up for Georgia. Didn't need him today. This team is legit. What a play call on the last drive by Sark, a trick play, and then a quarterback run for a tutty. That was an FU drive. That'd be the drive that closed the door at 34-3.
That's probably fair. I mean, honestly, it was to go for the double pass for the second time in the game and to let Matthew Golden redeem himself slightly. At the very beginning of the comment, Oscar, Quinn could have been better. I think that's one of the stories of today's game is that Quinn did not play well. He just didn't. He ends up with a 130 quarterback rating. He picks it up in the second quarter, but you and I were getting text messages that very early in the game, put in Arch, time to replace him with Arch. At one point, I had 4 text messages in a row that all said the same thing. Quinn will have better days. I wrote a bit about this on Orange Bloods and just posted it in my post-game analysis. Don't overthink this. Quinn didn't play well. He has to play better. We'll all say certain things today, but they're all kind of really duh, right? You can't do this next week against Georgia.
Right.
He has to be better. He looks really rusty. He looked really rusty in a game that they won by 31. So, there's no reason to make a big deal out of this. I do think everybody has to stop talking about the Heisman. That's just not on the table right now. And that's okay. That's okay. They're undefeated, and they will be the number 1 ranked team in the country tomorrow. Probably no matter what happens. Well, you know what? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe if Ohio State were to beat Oregon by 70, that there's a performance that would change that. But they're undefeated. They control their own destiny. They are in the driver's seat to play in the SEC championship, potentially come away with a top 4 seed in the playoffs. Honestly, remember when I told you on Thursday that when I look back at the 1990 season, the OU game is about the 6th or 7th game? The whole reason why I looked up the numbers for that game was I really couldn't remember everything that happened in it. Today might be like that if this team ends up having a special season, there will just be other games that will be more memorable than today because Texas didn't play that well today. It wasn't unlike Mississippi State in a lot of ways, except Mississippi State actually did more on offense and controlling the clock and kind of, controlling. It felt very similar, though. There's never was a point in today's game where I was nervous for Texas. In fact, when it was at 7-3, I tweeted, the game started now because now it's up to Oklahoma. They have to know that they have to score some touchdowns. That you're officially down by 4. And I know that sounds crazy, but up until then, they've been very conservative on the offensive side of the ball. I see Jason Suchomel will be quiet and let him in. By the way, Chad, I'm going to work on – you stay there, and I'm going to work on the other chat. So any super chats that come in,
okay,
you don't have to worry about missing them.
Okay. So you're going to look for super chats?
Yes.
Gotcha. Jason Suchomel, orangebloods.com, jumping in after Texas beats Oklahoma 34-3. Jason, as always with football, sometimes it's a little different version than maybe people think, but Texas definitely got the win. They definitely got the cover. What you think?
First off, nice shirt, Chad. I'm glad you got the change.
Thank you.
Black shirt I saw you in earlier. So, you know, what I think, I wrote in my column, I started writing, I'm like, hey, it wasn't always pretty, and it's kind of sloppy and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, you know what, who gives a crap, right? They just beat Oklahoma 34-3. So, like, let's not nitpick this thing to death. I mean, I just jumped in. I kind of heard what Ket said. It did kind of feel Mississippi State-like. That first half, you're like, boy, it feels like Texas should be up by even more, and the offense wasn't clicking. But, you know, we're going to look back at this game. Obviously, there's a huge game next week. At the end of the year, we're going to look back at this game, and I don't think anybody's going to remember that, okay, Quinn missed a couple throws. And
when Bert Auburn missed a field goal twice,
yeah,
they laughed it off. Like we were in the second quarter, and we were officially at if he makes a field goal, he makes it, and if he doesn't, we'll laugh about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a matter of what was the final score going to be, right, at that point. I mean, there was no threat of Texas losing this game. You know, again, not the greatest performance. It's not the cleanest game we've seen Texas play. Quinn maybe had a little rust, but whatever. They won 30-3. Good win for Texas overall. Keeps them undefeated. You know, I said, hey, next week they go. I forgot to move my mic, guys. Next week they go. If they win that game,
there we go.
That almost feels like, to me, it solidifies or locks up a college football playoff spot for Texas, because they're not going to drop a couple more games, I don't think. So, you know, Texas just keeps stacking wins. Good win. Anytime you can send Oklahoma back over the border with their tail between their legs, that's a good day for the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Jason, nice move on that mic. Everything got crystal clear on that. Very well done.
Yeah.
Very well done. Let's grab a $19.99 super chat from Paul. Thank you, Paul. Hope you enjoyed the game. Texas played a C-plus game against OU and won by 31. Great day. Texas out-talented OU. OU sucks. All is good. Enjoy the day with exclamation points. I mean, that really does end up being the story here. If I tell any Texas fan alive, Catch, you're going to get a 31-point victory against OU. You just sign, and you don't care what it looks like, an ugly 31-point victory against OU. That's pretty crazy, but that's kind of what we saw.
Yeah, look, again, the thing that I will remember about this game in November is just how poor Oklahoma was. I'm not going to overreact to anything that Quinn did. I think there were some notable things from the game. This may be the day that Trey Wisner took the running back job. It certainly feels like going into next week's game against Georgia that he needs to be treated as the lead back based on just how well he played today. I mean, he had a 100-yard game, first career 100-yard game, and he just ran the ball so well. You know, Anthony Hill was fantastic. There were some really standout players that had games that were, you know, Gunnar Helm, sensational today.
Oh, man.
There really were some players that did some really good things that are worth talking about. But this feels like a game that we should have a post-game show that lasts about an hour. That it was very matter of fact. Texas, it wasn't even like they bludgeoned them to death. You know what I mean? It was a 60-minute game. Texas, once they got their feet underneath them, they scored some. The defense never gave anything up. It felt like a controlled scrimmage. And if I'm an Oklahoma fan today, I'm really worried that we're not making a bowl game. Yeah,
because we know where that schedule's headed.
You barely beat Auburn. That's a game that you should have lost. You stole victory from the jaws of defeat. And look, good for Oklahoma. They're going to need that win. But we know that the schedule's full of tough games. Mm-hmm. Nothing about today screamed that they're going to win a lot of games the rest of the season. And nothing about today screamed that this is anything other than Michael Hawkins' team. That, look,
Yep.
If they thought Jackson Arnold at all was going to play at any point the rest of the season, there were countless times to put him in the game, and it's clear, it's clear what that situation is. He's not going to play for them again, and they don't have any alternatives.
Their best quarterback might be Casey Thompson. I'm seriously.
But do you do that? If you do that,
you're stunting your growth.
It's almost an acknowledgement that you've effed up in taking Jackson Arnold out.
Well, and think about this, fellas. If you're on the other side of that stadium, if you're on the south end and you're headed, back, like Jason said, back across the Red River, sad. This is a proud college football history, a proud college football, organization. Heisman winners at quarterback. I would feel so insulted today if I was an Oklahoma football fan to watch that garbage play out.
That would have been so depressing.
For 4 quarters. And Jason, twice during the game, they show Jackson Arnold on the TV broadcast. He's got his helmet on. He's got his mouthpiece in. And we all know he's not going to play 1 second. If I was an Oklahoma fan today, I can live with losing to Texas. It's part of my life as a Sooner fan that maybe I lose to Texas. They're the big rival. They're right. You know what I mean? But to live with that, I'd feel insulted if I was an OU fan. I would feel like my coaches had completely lost the ability to understand football based on what we saw. That's crazy to me.
Well, I just goes to show you they have 0 options at quarterback. First, I want to say shout out to my man Paul. Paul's a friend of mine from out in Arizona. So what's up, Paul? Thanks for the super chat. But they just don't have it. There's no right answer. What are they going to? They're going to put Jackson Arnold in, and then that's stunts Michael Hawkins, maybe destroy his confidence a little bit. I mean,
I don't think Michael Hawkins is starting at quarterback next year for Oklahoma.
Next year, they better go.
They will go into the portal and they'll find a quarterback.
Exactly. They better go into the portal and find somebody, because I don't think they have. I don't know who they have in this year's class, but I don't think they have a quality starting quarterback.
Well, he's legitimately on the hot seat next year.
Oh yeah,
it's year 4. And
depending on how the schedule goes this year, I don't know if you can do it this year or think about it, but there's going to be some mad fans if this schedule keeps up like this. I mean, good grief.
I'm not willing to go out so far as to say that Venables will lose his job after this season, but I've already gone on the record that I don't think he gets more than next year.
Well, you said something earlier, Catch. I think, Jason, it might have been right before you came on. I think you would agree. It's one of the craziest things I've ever heard you say, but you were dead on when you said clearly Vanderbilt will put up a better test against Texas than OU will.
It won't even be close.
It's not even a discussion, and it's absolutely true. But if you had told me that last, in the summertime, I'd have said you were crazy. Well, wait a minute, come on. But Jason, that is clear now. What we saw out of Vanderbilt, even before that Bama game, but specifically in the Bama game, you know now as a Texas fan, you're going to Nashville and you will get tested in a way that, I can't believe I'm going to say it out loud, that you just didn't in the Cotton Bowl.
Good quarterback play for Vanderbilt. I still think Texas boat races them. This is how stupid, crazy college football is. I try to take one vacation in the fall, and I try to take it when Texas has an off week. This year I couldn't do it. So 6 months ago, I scheduled, I'm going to miss the Vanderbilt game next week or 2 weeks from now. I'm like, oh, nobody will even care. It's Vanderbilt. Now suddenly it's a pretty good game. So I might have to find a way to work remotely or something. So, yeah, man, Vanderbilt, if Vanderbilt played Oklahoma, Vanderbilt win that game probably 8 times out of 10. So, yeah, they'll put up a good test. I know we got some other super chats to get to, but yeah, that's just not a good Oklahoma football team at all. Nothing I saw from them today.
No doubt. All right, let's grab a super chat from S. Roan 45, one of our favorites. Thank you for that 5 spot. I was here for the Max Strong Herman losses to OU, so I'll take this every day of the week. Damn right you do.
Oh, no, and have a night, Longhorn fans.
You own Dallas. You own it by 31 points today.
I mean, talk your shit. Seriously.
But get after it.
But the fans should enjoy this. You literally just beat Oklahoma. I told Brian Jones on Thursday, I put a big 4 up, and he said, "What's that?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Texas is going to win this game by 4 touchdowns." They did.
Hey, you nailed it.
They won it by 31 points. And so, look, we don't have to overreact to this game and that impact the way Texas fans enjoy the next 24, 36 hours or 48, 72. They can enjoy it as long as they want to. I think this Texas team, this game plays out in a way they'll show up on Sunday ready for Georgia.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that if you're a Texas fan and you can't enjoy this type of win over OU, forget the circumstances. If you can't enjoy this type of win over OU, you need some therapy and you need to get reset on what it's like to be a Texas fan, because this is what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Look at the smile on Jason Suchomel's face. Like, look at
It
his
just
face.
reminds me of the Mac. We're at the point now where it's like the Mac Brown days when people bitch not because Texas won, because they didn't win by enough. Like, they just beat Oklahoma by 31. Like, I found myself doing it on my column. I was like, my post-game write-up, I was like, God, I feel like I'm being too negative. What am I doing? They just won
you're not,
34-3.
Because I think every Texas fan knows this. They watched the game. They saw it. They lived it. They know it. All of us that had Quinn Ewers on any Prize Picks number, we're gonna pay for it. I mean,
Prize Picks always knows catch. We should have known better.
I lost a few $100, Jason. That happened. And sorry for those of you who followed my lead when I said that the stone cold lock of the week was going to be Quinn Ewers hitting the passing number. I would not have guessed that Quinn would play as poorly as he did today.
If he throws that one completion to Bond on the second drive of the game, he hits that number, right?
He hits that. He does. Yeah. And probably the way they treat the offensive game plan the rest of the way, I think there got to be a point in the second quarter when Steve Sarkisian, when they had the lead, I think he realized, okay, well, look, we can only lose this game if Quinn starts throwing balls into people. So most of it ended up being a very controlled passing game attack for Texas.
Yeah.
I think maybe the best news of the day is that, that tweet comes out earlier, and assuming it's true that the Isaiah Bond injury isn't considered major. Now, that doesn't mean that he's available next week. I mean, maybe, you'd hate to not have him. He is their best receiver.
But not a massive injury where they're thinking, that he tore his knee up or something.
Texas has wiggle room. One of the things about winning today means that the Georgia game next week has implications. But if you lose it, it doesn't take you out of anything at all. And it certainly doesn't take them out of the playoff mix.
Yeah.
We are living in a world where I think SEC teams that go 10-2 are probably going to be in. It'd be a hard luck SEC team that would go 10-2 and not make it into the top, I guess, 11, if you will.
But even if you're just taking it step by step, guys, we talked about those 3 games that blinked at you in the early schedule. At Michigan, OU's always OU, and then you turn around for Georgia. You're guaranteed 2-1 if you're Texas fans, if you're Texas team. I mean, that's big time right now. You got an impressive win, and think about it.
Those aren't home wins. It's a neutral site game and a road game.
Good point. If I tell you get both, Jason, if I tell you before the season starts, you're going to win by 19 in the Big House and by 31 in Dallas, my goodness, you'd have been pre-mixing drinks, well in advance. I mean, that's incredible stuff just on its face.
Next week is huge, but Georgia didn't exactly look like world beaters today. I didn't get to watch the games, but I don't remember what was the final. I think they won by 14,
it was like 34-17 or something like that.
Last score I saw was like a 27-10, but I didn't see a final.
34-24 right now, guys, and there's still 11 minutes left in the game.
Still playing, okay. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So only up by 10. This is at home against Mississippi State, so
not over.
Which is what the universally accepted unanimous worst team in the SEC. Jason, when we did the power polls this week, I ranked Oklahoma 14th. And I
thought you were crazy.
I know.
I don't disagree with you now. After what I saw today, I'll probably have something similar.
There was a little bit of a projection in that, as I thought, okay, Texas is going to beat them bad. And we're going to realize after the game, everybody's going to be very clear about how poor they are offensively. And they are. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I don't know what the expectations for Michael. They're playing him too early. It is, look, Texas fans are used to this. They can remember they lived it. And you know what? Oklahoma lived the good life for a long time. So like Texas did when from 1994 through 2009, Texas goes James Brown, Major Applewhite, Chris Sims, Vince Young, Colt McCoy. It's a great way to go through life.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma's had that at the quarterback position. They're due and have been due for this. And the good news for them, I think, is that in the age of the portal, look, if there was no portal, I'd be looking at Oklahoma right now and wondering, is their program dead? What would you be expecting next year? Like Jason said, a true freshman quarterback to come in. You're doing that now with Hawkins. You'd be in a position. Do you get a transfer who sits out a year in the old rules? The good news, if you're an Oklahoma fan, look, if I'm an Oklahoma fan, I'm drinking myself to death tonight. But when I wake up because I didn't accomplish the goal, I'll go, okay, well, we're getting a quarterback. This season is a lost cause. Portal. All about the portal and getting the right quarterback, because otherwise I'm looking at what the program is shaped up as right now, and I'm thinking to myself, holy crap.
Yeah. No,
I forgot. They have Kevin Sperry kid out of Denton Guyer committed. I haven't seen him this fall, but I saw him this summer at some camps and things. He's a good player, but like you said, he's a true freshman. Yeah, the only thing crazier than you having Oklahoma at 14th, which ended up being not crazy, is Almar having Vanderbilt at number 2.
No, it was 3. And A&M at 2. A&M at 2.
A&M 2, Vandy 3.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, both of those were equally ridiculous. A&M 2, Vanderbilt 3. Yes,
that was a hell of a reaction to a weekend. All right, we got 10 super chats lined up, and we do appreciate you. Oscar with another one, $4.99. How about that OU account saying Hill was the worst player on the defense? How about that defense?
He finished with 11 tackles. Let me make sure I pull this up. 7 solos, 2 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss, 1 quarterback hurry, 1 forced fumble. I don't remember who that was that tweeted that he's a liability or the weak spot.
It was a former OU player.
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember his name. It was a former player, but
it's like
saying they need to attack
Anthony. I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and probably he could have had a couple more sacks.
Pinned that on the wrong person.
If Oklahoma offensive lineman tackled him on a couple other plays, or he would have probably had another sack or 2. So that was probably, from my recollection, the best game I think Anthony Hill's played in his career. So maybe he used that tweet as some motivation.
And by the way, Billy Bowman got the interception early.
He did.
He didn't do shit the rest of the game.
Michael Taft came right back and made a play.
Michael Taft had the better game.
Michael Taft had made a play. He did. And then, by the way, if you're a Texas fan, how much are you enjoying those blitzes where it's Simmons on one side, Hill on the other? Like 0 and 11, just trying to close in on a quarterback. That has to be fun to watch if you love Texas. Thank you, Oscar, for that super chat. Wait a minute. Another one from Oscar, $4.99. Why no Heisman with a big game next week? Milroe returned back to the mean. Who else would be in the running right now? That's, I'm assuming is what he means. Who else would be a runaway for the Heisman
running
right
back
now?
Prop, right? I mean, yeah, he plays for Boise, but that dude.
Quinn's just okay. We're halfway through the season, and Quinn's just been okay. I mean, and I say okay today, sensational in the first 10 quarters before that. But he's played 3.5 games of action so far compared to players that are truly having great seasons. And my guess is he didn't have enough. His passer rating probably drops today where he's somewhere between 25th and 30th in the country. Which isn't terrible, but he's not the best quarterback in the country. Texas fans have to stop acting like that's who he is. Quinn Ewers has never been the best player in the country, ever. It's not, he's going to be a first-round draft pick, and I think he's the quarterback of the number 1 team in the country, but he's not the best quarterback in the country, ever. He's never been that. And today, he wasn't great. He was okay. Ultimately, he was okay. Like, I'm not going to beat Quinn up, but like because I think, you know what, it's probably, we looked at the previous 2 games that he comes back from injury, and we just assume that's easy. Oh, well, they won 49-0 2 years ago, and last year he plays against TCU.
That logic was weird to me. A lot of people use that logic, like, well, he came back and they won 49-0. I'm like, that's a weird, I guess. But
so, like, I think Texas fans have to give him grace tonight. Don't say put in Arch.
Right.
Don't say there's a quarterback controversy. You have to. We all know Quinn has to play better, but if I'd said a couple of weeks ago, hey, when he comes back, he's going to be a little rusty from having not played a whole lot, nobody should have went, no, that can't happen. No, I think today what we saw was some pretty normal stuff happened. And it's good that against a bad team today, he was able to come back and kind of work out some of the rust. This was like a preseason game in the NFL.
Right.
131 passer rating. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to bag on Quinn, but he was C- to me today. I mean, he's barely gets a passing grade.
That's what I said too, Jason.
Yeah.
But again, this isn't about today.
Yeah,
this
like
is someone asking why no
Oscar's
Heisman.
point. Yeah, no, if he goes out next week and throws for 350 against Georgia and leads them to win, he's right back in that discussion, I think. There's no running.
No. He needs more than that. He has to be elite in more than a couple of games over 12.
Well, I don't think that puts him as a finalist, but I think it gets him in the conversation. Then we'll see what he does from there.
He's in the conversation now, but only because he's the quarterback of the number one team in the country.
Yeah. To me, the biggest question is
the Beanie guy, the running back from Boise, should be your Heisman winner.
He's not having a better year than he's not having a better season than Cade Klubnik.
Genty or Ewers?
Ewers.
Okay, right. The running back at Boise, the running back at Boise and Travis Hunter at Colorado
are the main two guys. And
especially as Colorado keeps winning ball games.
As long as Miami is undefeated, Cam Ward's there.
Yeah. That may be true too. Yeah, you're right. That's true. Especially if he keeps winning in exciting ways
and look,
may need to play it every game.
I know Texas fans want to jump on Milroe because he wasn't great today, but he came into today as the nation's number one quarterback in terms of efficiency. Mm-hmm. We know how good he is as a runner. And with all due respect to Quinn, the game that he'll need to have against Georgia later in the year to be able to say common opponents when Milroe played Georgia and Ewers played Georgia does that give in a quarterback discussion of the pecking order for quarterbacks? He was Superman against Georgia. So the game that Ewers will have next week will have to be as good as at least in the ballpark, in the zip code of what Jalen Milroe did against Georgia, because that's the bar. At some point, he's got to be great. And, let's just enjoy Quinn Ewers. He's a very good quarterback. Mm-hmm. I don't know that he's ever going to quite hit that level. And I don't know that talking it into existence will work.
All right. Super chats lining up. How about this one for 1999? James says, let me hear the Texas fight song. Catch and Jason won't make Chad say it. Do you guys just do Texas fight on cue? Does that happen?
I've never heard that before.
I mean, I know
we will not do that.
I did go to Texas, so I know it. But
Jason, does that happen? Would you like to maybe just?
I don't think I've sung the Texas fight song since I was probably in college. And
can you give? I mean, is he allowed to give me the end with the OU sucks part?
I would rather not.
Would rather not. Okay, would rather.
Somebody who's calling recruits.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. That's not.
You know what? I'm sorry about that, James. If you'd like, I could say give him hell. OU sucks. I could do that for you, but we can't give you what you want.
No, I can say OU sucks because they suck.
Right. Today they absolutely.
But I can say that about any number of teams.
Today it wasn't just a cliche either. They
wasn't just a song lyric today. Yeah.
Yeah, right. They were horrible today. All right. This is easily my favorite super chat just from the inside perspective. Chris with a $10 super chat. One, catch. Use this mic every show. It's so much better than your home setup. Chris, the funny part is it sounds weird to us. So it doesn't sound great to us, but Jason told us earlier that it sounds great going out. So we're glad that it sounds good.
That is horrific. I mean, that's terribly funny, ironic.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Yeah. Number two, Sark and Quinn were subdued post-game. They're not happy with the offense, and that's a good thing going into next week.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Sark seemed like he was in a pretty good mood. He was joking around and with the golden hat and took it over to Quinn. I didn't think Sark necessarily.
They will enjoy the win today, and they should. They should live it up.
Yeah. That's what Quinn said. Hey, we'll enjoy it on the way home in maybe about 12 hours, and we'll turn the page to next week. So
and they should be able to have. This is no small thing to beat. They've now beaten Oklahoma in 2 of the last 3 years by a combined 80 points.
Yeah.
So enjoy that. That's not
absolutely.
That's not insignificant.
Yeah.
But I do think I think Quinn will be the first one to say, well, that wasn't good enough.
No.
This is a guy that has really high aspirations, higher than those of you in the chat that are wondering why not Quinn for the Heisman.
That's not that doesn't hit the standard. It doesn't win a big road game probably later on. It doesn't win a playoff game.
You wouldn't want Quinn to play like he did today against Vanderbilt.
No.
On the road.
No, there's no way.
By the way, can I give you the stat of the day?
Sure.
You guys remember the Matthew Golden first pass, right?
The Matthew Golden, the first pass, the incompletion.
Yes.
Yes.
You remember that play.
I remember it. I can see the ball in the air. It was not beautiful. Not an NFL Films moment.
No, I asked on Orange Bloods whether or not that is the ugliest pass in the history of the Texas football program.
Okay.
That being said, he finished with a higher passer rating than Quinn Ewers today.
By a wide margin. He finished with a 176.
Come on, man.
Because he hits that pass to Helm.
He hit the Helm. Gunnar Helm bails him out and gives him a good rating.
So in the end, he ends up being 1 of 2 for 20 yards or something like that.
30 yards.
Wow.
30 yards.
How many? Oh, 30. Excuse
30.
me.
Oh my God.
So his yards per attempt is really good. If you're Matthew Golden, your passer attempt at 15.0 yards per attempt is among the nation's best.
That is incredible. Hey, you know what? The numbers are the numbers don't lie, right? The numbers don't lie.
So now Quinn Ewers is the 3rd highest rated quarterback on the team.
Oh my God.
And the funny thing is Manning will, because of Milroe's game today, because he had Milroe had 2 picks today. I don't know what his final quarterback rating ended up being, but he came into today 1 point ahead of Arch Manning for the lead in NCAA passing.
Way
efficiency.
up there. So is Arch at number 1 now?
I can't say. I got all the games have to be played.
Yeah.
But he's got to be ahead of Jalen Milroe.
He does. He does. And yeah, as much as Texas fans are going to enjoy what they're dealing with today, there is a discussion that we're all going to have next week because I heard it today. I heard it in the group here at TCH Social. Great location here. Come check it out. 183 Anderson Mill area. It's incredible. We had a great time. But I heard people with the discussion of this won't be good enough against Georgia. What if he did this against Georgia? What if it looked like this against Georgia? Should it be in that next game? If Texas gets down early and he airmails a couple, is that crowd going to let it happen?
No.
Or is that crowd going to?
I mean, yes, they will.
Is that crowd going to rabble? Is that crowd going to get in? Is that crowd not that they chant anything, but is there going to be serious discussion in the stands about?
I mean, there will be
making a move.
I think it was easier to play in the Cotton Bowl today than it would have been at DKR.
Yeah, maybe that early part, right? That early part of the game,
because there would be you feel that anxiety because DKR.
You couldn't have showed that to the Sooner fans if you were nervous,
right?
You can't show that to them.
There were threads on Orange Bloods after the first series, and not like tongue in cheek. I mean, a couple of them were, but a couple were like, okay, let's give Quinn one more series. And if he doesn't do something, then go to Arch. I'm like, oh my goodness, people.
I know.
Anyway, to answer your question, Jalen Milroe with a 142.8 rating today.
Yeah. Okay.
So that definitely drops him below 200.
He's at 201.2 on the season.
No, that's what he was before the game.
Okay, well maybe that didn't.
So it hasn't been factored in yet.
Okay.
Gotcha. All right.
I'm guessing.
We got a lot of folks in between 11 and 1,200 folks into the Specs chat. We appreciate you. Chris throws us a super chat for $5. Says, Vegas thought Texas was minus 17. The over-under was 49. Texas scored its requisite 33 points. OU just did nothing. Matter of fact, indeed. So I guess 34 to – oh, I see. Okay. So we didn't get to the number.
Yeah,
I didn't realize what the over under was.
I didn't either.
So cover, but didn't hit the number.
My prediction was, oh, you know what? Never mind. I think it was 38 to 17, and I said I'm having a hard time figuring out how Oklahoma's going to get 17. So I wish I'd have gone with my gut because it just didn't seem like it. The 38 was pretty close, but that Oklahoma offense did nothing to anybody who took the over. Sorry, because that Oklahoma offense did nothing to help you.
Yeah, Jason, I said earlier, the silliest I feel is that I thought Oklahoma could score 17. I went 55-17. I think if I'd have said 55-3, like it was, because I could see in a very not an easy path, but if Texas comes out and plays and Quinn hits passes or whatever, 55 is not that crazy.
Jason, what was the Hawkins rushing number on Prize Picks?
I don't remember.
He finished with 27. I think it was at 29.
Hey, I know I hit one Prize Pick number because I got him combined passing and rushing yards, and it was like 205.5, and I went less. I think I hit that one, right?
I took less on Hawkins, and I took the less on Hawkins, and I took the less on Brendan Thompson. Both those hit. I remember they had the long rush for Hawkins. I think was at 14 yards. Did he get that? I don't think he got that either.
I don't know. I
He had
don't
a
recall
long
if he
of
got
11.
that. Okay, so he didn't get the 14
hit that.
on that.
Didn't hit his passing yardage total. So,
What he didn't
and
get
I mean,
me
they
was
were
the
throwing the
pick.
ball.
Well, and the thought was that there would be a point in that game where he'd break off a run, and it didn't really happen.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so we've got more super chats.
And real quick, Billy
Go ahead.
Bowman, 1 tackle today.
One tackle?
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, 1 tackle. There you go. One
Other
tackle.
than a ball that was airmailed that fell into his lap, he made 1 tackle today.
Somehow I don't think the Sooner fans are coming after you this week, Catch. I really don't. All right, the biggest number I see right now is a 10 spot. Thank you, Jagmus. Brent Venables was asked if the gap between Texas and Oklahoma on the field was alarming. Quote, I don't know.
Yeah, you do. First off, yes, you do, Brent. And secondly, what kind of answer is that?
You do.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Is that the fair? Are you allowed to say I don't know to that question?
it is very similar to like, hey, someone is accusing you of doing something really bad to kids. And it's like,
Yes.
no comment.
I'd rather not answer. Yeah, right.
It's anything other than that is a horrific lie.
Yeah.
And if you say it again, we're either fighting or I'm suing you.
'Cause-
And if someone says, is it alarming? I don't know.
Isn't that like asking one of us like how our marriage is doing? You don't know. The follow-up is
know.
if you don't know, who should know?
Well, look, just imagine. Here's what I would say, Jason. And Chad, you'll appreciate this too. Imagine Mac Brown saying that.
Oh, good Lord.
Like in any of the bad ones.
He'd get destroyed.
Imagine after the game, Mac answering that question, I don't know.
He'd get destroyed. I mean, they would.
That would never be lived down.
No.
It's not like Oklahoma's not recruiting pretty well. They are, but I don't know if it's just development. I mean, but listen, quarterback is, if you don't have a good quarterback, most of the other stuff doesn't really matter that much.
You're 100% right, Jason.
Yep.
And look, I don't know how much the game changes if they are healthy at wide receiver. They are a better team. They're missing 3 NFL wide receivers at a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't win them the game today. Like those players all being back doesn't mean that Oklahoma wins, but it does make them competitive. And I called them a kitty cat in my, like a 3-week-old kitten is what I called them in my column on Orange Bloods. That's not an indictment of if they're at their best, how good they can be. I don't know how good that is. Today they were a kitten. Today it was like, oh, wait, they can't get the ball inside Texas territory and do anything with it. What are they supposed to do when they've got to go 75, 80 yards?
Yeah.
And there was never a feeling of like, oh, they'll do it. It actually, it's weird in a game where you feel like, oh, they'll never score. Sometimes you'll watch a New Mexico State or somebody like that, and you're thinking, this game's going to end up in a shutout. And then at the end of the game, they score, or maybe even a couple times, and you're like, oh, boy, it's hard to get shutouts, right?
Yeah.
Today, it felt like that. It felt like they're not going to score.
Well, the biggest indictment I could give OU on this game was at one point, Jason, I turned to Catch and said, I have never watched this game and thought a team could win 6-3. But I watched it today. Like there was a moment where I thought to myself,
but what did I tell you? Like there's no way Texas isn't.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like I didn't feel like I was watching 09 Texas.
Right. But yeah.
Even if
Quinn
Ewers looked like 09 Colts.
Right. No, and I figured Texas would score, but I really thought like, oh my God, the number to win this game might be 4.
Yeah,
and it was. It was 4. 2 safeties would have won this game. That's crazy.
I usually ask you that question every week.
Yeah.
Like, what's the number? I ask that question in our modcast. I ask that all the time. I'll ask it next week.
And this week, my answer would have been kind of insulting to an OU fan. I guess some of them, I would have said 18 because I was picking 55-17. 18 wins this thing by 2 full touchdowns.
That's wild.
It's a snoozer if you score 18. Yeah,
exactly. Jagmus, thank you for that. By the way, I had not that comment from Venables that's not going away anytime.
By the way,
soon.
Ohio State up 7 or 6-0 pending.
Okay.
The PAT early lead against Oregon.
By the way, Catch, somebody wants to know if you are hanging out to play some cards after the show.
I'm not going to play cards tonight.
Okay.
The question is, when we're done,
Look at this room, folks. This is the room right here.
will I hang out and watch some of the football?
See,
I don't know that I want to be on the road during the Ohio State, Oregon, and the LSU.
Yeah.
Ole Miss game.
If y'all can see that screen over on the far side, that's where we were watching Texas OU. That is a badass, like, basically it's a 4x4, so that's like a 16 screen setup in one.
Yeah.
16 screens in one is how we were watching the game. That's how they're watching Ohio State and Oregon.
The screen is
right
so
now.
big that they're utilizing some other screens to highlight the Texas OU part of today. And I never once thought they really need to turn these other screens into that TV so that we can.
It's just huge.
It's huge.
I'm telling you, it's incredible. Come check out TCH Social if you have not done that. So Catch may hang out and watch some games. But thank you for that question. We've gotten other super chats. Let's grab this one here. $4.99 from Barb's 10, who we met today. Got to meet Barb's 10 in person. Shout out to him. Does Quinn get a pass coming off injury against a good OU defense / neutral field? Cool meeting y'all at the watch party. It was cool to meet you as well. # horns not by Fitty in this one. So does he get a pass? Does he get a pass
Yes.
in this game? Jason?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like you say, it wasn't a great day for Quinn, but, whatever. Nobody's going to remember that. He 100% gets a pass coming off of an injury. Big still led him to a big win. Had a touchdown pass.
The last quarterback to beat Oklahoma by 30 before Quinn was Vince, and Quinn's done it twice.
So the last time would have been the 45-12 then, is what you're saying. Wow. Hadn't thought of it that way. Okay. Yeah. That comfortable to win too. That has just got to be so nice. You're sitting in that north end. You're rocking your burnt orange. They're leaving early. You're winning by a bunch. That's a good feeling.
Look, man, I played at McCallum when I was in high school. And we got drop kicked upside the head a couple of times.
Yeah.
You'll run into guys that play like 10 years later. You'll be 28 years old. And you'll run into somebody who was like, man, we beat the shit out of y'all 48-0. Man.
Oh, no.
And you know what you do? It's almost like, I didn't play football. You know what I mean? It's like,
all right, you make
I was
it.
hurt that game. I was injured.
You make it up. I was a weightlifter. That was not
just like, our baseball team was good. I was a manager for the baseball team. You feel so humiliated by it, because what ends up happening is in the future, when they find out that you were a part of that, they'll just look at you like you don't matter. And I'm telling you right now, 10 years from now, there will be members of these Texas teams and this Oklahoma team where they will see each other, right? Just at random places.
Yeah.
Maybe some of these guys in the NFL, and they'll be like, you guys dog shit, man. And when you're the guy on that team, Billy Bowman's going to play in the NFL. But he's going to know he made one. Maybe he'll be, I had an intercept, but he made one tackle.
Right.
And in a game where they lost by 31, he was a complete non-factor. Now, and there are literally 20 guys on the team, 25 guys on that OU team that played that this stink will never go away. You'll carry this for the rest of your life. And consequently, we haven't said his name yet, Silas Bolden. He does not know this yet, but he's in the never have to buy a drink, never buy a bill for food ever again club. He doesn't know it, because he doesn't know how this works, right?
Yeah.
But he'll find out very soon. Oh, I don't have to pay for things anymore.
That is just a turning point, big moment play.
Oh, let's talk about it. It is.
Every coach on earth is going to use that play for the rest of their lives.
It's the first play they show in film.
About hustle and work ethic and the whole thing. And it's 7-3 at that moment. It has a chance to be OU with the ball coming back out, down 7-3. And Jason, the play Silas Bolden makes, I can't see that replay enough to watch how hard he worked to get to that moment. Stutzman thought he could just jog to that football, and Silas Bolden gets there, and it goes from that moment to—
It was a 7-3 game.
Yeah, it goes to 14-3, and then I was certain Texas wasn't losing that game if they stayed clean the rest of the day. Jason, it's just an incredible play. Like, I don't know if it's the Silas Bolden game, but to me, it's the play I'm going to remember for this game for a while.
Yeah, I said in my write-up, I said, he'll make plays in the passing game or special teams that will wow you. And he made a nice punt return, but I said, this is the play that we're going to remember. He had his back to the play when Wisner
He
broke
stayed
free.
in to block at 155 pounds.
Yeah, and but to Jason's point, he's literally blocking towards the other end zone at one point of that play.
And he had to run through traffic to get down there, and then he sees the ball pop out, and he just like a lightning bolt goes towards it. I said the same thing, Chad. I said that will be a play. You know, Sark likes to, I forget, it's not the good, bad, and the ugly, but it's something like that they do when they go over the film with the team. That will certainly be probably the first play that they highlight for the good. Like, look at this hustle, guys. That's why you, even on offense, you rally to the football, because
Jason,
you never know what's going to happen.
I guarantee you he'll tell that team, he'll say, some of you guys knock on my door and ask, what do I have to do to get on the field more?
Yep.
That.
What's that old saying? It doesn't cost anything to hustle.
I mean, there's no reason for him to be involved in that play.
Yeah.
He's blocking at the 40.
Yeah.
The ball is 20 yards down the field, and his instincts were run fast.
Yeah. It really ends up being one of Jason's favorite moments of all time. It's kind of that Derek Jeter play against the A's.
Yes, indeed.
Be here. You're not asked to be here, but oh my God, you're here and you just made the play of the game.
You're right.
I mean, that wasn't that close a game, obviously, but Jason, I thought of that a little later, because that is one of my all-time great examples of how the hell did he think to do it? And it's just this amazing, just bust your ass. And sometimes
Texas fans will talk about that play for a quarter century. I'm telling you, they will.
James with a 199, just the 2 words, Texas fight. And James, there's going to be a lot of that screamed in Dallas tonight as Texas wins 34-3. I'm looking for big money amounts. We got a lot of fivers today. Thank you, Oscar, for a 499. And sorry, Catch, I wanted to believe, but Wisner is better than Blue, and so is Baxter. You said it earlier. You and I were watching it. You and I both made arguments for Jaden Blue at times. Does Wisner need the first series against Georgia?
Oh, I mean, I said it at the top that one of the storylines of this game was that Trey Wisner had a breakout game. And I think that next week you're playing Georgia. You got to give Trey Wisner a chance to run with the ball and see where he goes with it. It doesn't mean that you give up on Jaden Blue. Something's not right with Jaden. And we know he got injured in the Michigan game, and we know that he missed a game with an ankle injury. He just doesn't quite look like the same guy. There's a tentativeness there that makes me think he's hurt. There's he's not just ripping it loose. And he's a guy last year that when he got on the field, let it loose. And so, but for now, I mean, look, I would have said a week ago or even 2 days ago that I think it's close. It's not like I'm being disrespectful towards Wisner or thought. And honestly, what I said after last week was that, start Blue, but maybe it's more of a 55-45, 60-40 mix. And I think you go into next week and it's probably like a 65-35 Wisner mix, unless Blue gets going, Blue gets hot, and kind of does what Wisner. They may just ride the hot hand.
I think that's what you do. I think you start Wisner, but you ride the hot hand. Hey, FYI, final in Athens, Georgia 41-31. Carson Beck threw for 459 yards, guys. So that Texas secondary better be ready next week.
Wow. Did you say 459?
459 and 3 touchdowns. Yeah.
Good grief. And that game was close at one point, but that's
now we've got Vandy, Kentucky. I'm actually excited to watch this Vandy, Kentucky game, right? I mean,
you're darn right you are. Look at that.
Welcome to the SEC.
Hey, yeah. Well, yeah. A, welcome to the SEC. B, congrats to those 2 teams for giving you a couple reasons this week, Jason, but also you're living in a world where you're watching 2 future Texas opponents.
You got to do some homework watching this game, right?
By the way, I
beer to watch Vanderbilt and Kentucky tonight. Do some homework.
There you go.
I apologize to Anthony Hill. In a revised all 22, he's my linebacker over Stutzman.
Oh, yeah, you know what? Stutzman with 6 tackles today, guys. 2 solos is all. 2 solo tackles for Stutzman. He did have 1.5 tackles for loss, but Anthony Hill clearly outclassed him. Yeah.
I'm glad you said it, Catch. Blake was asking for the apology earlier. Blake, you just got your apology. Anthony Hill would now. So basically, let's reset. Now, if you redid the all 22 after watching the game, it was 19 out of 22, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So now it would be 20 if you put Hill in. 20. It's 20 of 22?
Yeah.
Okay. Just because you're still going with Taft.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
And Spears Jennings was one of the other players. And I gave who? There was nobody on the defensive line. There was one. Oh, and I put that one linebacker in, Sam Osimo.
All right.
You know.
Okay.
I don't even know if he played today.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'm looking.
So I might honestly, it might be 22 to, or might be 21 to 1.
Might be 21. Okay, might be a 21. Blake, you got your apology.
How about a thank you?
Well, it could be that, I guess.
Say thank you. Look, I said it yesterday. If there was a prize picks for Billy Bowman, 0.5 interceptions. After what I said yesterday,
You did say that.
he was going to get an interception in that game.
So you'd like a thank you for that.
I'd like Texas fans to thank me
Yeah.
for guaranteeing that Anthony Hill would have the best game of his young college career.
All right.
I'm just saying.
I think they'll thank you for that.
I mean, I was wrong,
Especially
and
since
I'm willing to say that.
You gave him the apology for Hill. I think they'll give you that. I think they'll absolutely.
But say
give you that.
thank you when these reverse jinxes kick in.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
exactly.
Catch. I like the linebacker Omoshigo or whatever how you say his name. He started. He didn't record a single tackle. Maybe he got hurt early or something. But
Dang,
or if he played, he did not show up in the stat sheet at all. But he is listed as a starter.
Leona Lafau goes in before him.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
I look good today, man. So
I know. I didn't say that facetiously.
I know. No, hey, after what we saw today, that was absolutely true. We got some super chats that are piling up. Thank you for that. Throw them in. We will get to those. Over 1,100 of you in the Specs chat. Before we forget, let's give Specs their love. You might need to get stocked up for something coming up, like, I don't know, maybe the Georgia game next week.
Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
And remember, Texas, Georgia, a 6:30 kick. We already knew that. And today it was announced it is going to be game day. So if you want to get out there early next Saturday morning, it's going to be a wild weekend in Austin, obviously, with F1 and Georgia game and all that. Also, the good folks here at TCH Social want you to know that they will be hosting watch parties every weekend for games. So we'll be back here for Texas, Georgia. I'm going to ask if I can come back here. I hope they let me come back because it was a lot of fun today. Food was great. The drink was great. $2 jellyfish followed by a $1 Stella. Are you kidding me? It was fantastic. Come on out and check it out. TCH Social for Texas and Georgia and all the other games on the schedule. All right. Super chats lined up. I kind of like this one from William. 199. If Bob Stoops was our coach this game, it's 80-3. LOL.
You know, I thought Sark did kind of take his foot off the double pass, notwithstanding in the fourth quarter, right? But I thought by and large, he kind of took his foot off the gas a little bit, called off the dogs.
He couldn't trust Quinn throwing the football down the field.
But it was a smart play too. Just run.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yards, run the clock. But just from a selfish reason, I was like, I want to see Quinn throw it around, run the score up. Like let's hang 50 on him for the first time
Jason,
ever. But
I was like, we need Oklahoma to score a touchdown so that they have a reason to keep throwing the ball, and it didn't happen.
He wanted prize picks. That's what he wanted.
I can't tell you. Let me count real quick.
The Quinn prize pick
I have
number.
no idea, but I have Quinn Ewers in passing yards in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oof, that is
8.
rough. That is rough.
8.
8 is a lot.
8 prize picks entries with Quinn Ewers.
I will not go look on how many entries I had Hawkins with an interception on, just like you don't need to look at that again, because I think we both did the same
How
thing.
did he not hit the 215 pumpkin? Come on.
Dude, I think 3 of those 4 pumpkins didn't hit, right? Quinn didn't hit the WNBA.
No, 3
one.
of the 4 did. I hit on the thing is, like,
No,
I paired them all. No, I paired them all, Jason.
Oh.
Jordan Mason got the yards.
Okay, you're right. He did.
The Collier, the WNBA player, got her rebound.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
And then Garrett Cole got his 4th strikeout.
I paired them all with things that didn't hit. So I didn't hit a single.
No, I did not.
That's what it was. That's what it was. By the way, if y'all don't know what they're talking about, it's Prize Picks. The Prize Pick show is Thursdays at 10 a.m. Get on in on that in case you didn't follow that. Also, this is one that just I feel bad reading it, so I'll just put this one on the screen. Sugar Poppy wants us to know for $5 that Sark did well against Venable's team today. That's what happened. Y'all can all read exactly.
A little more colorful description.
A little more colorful there. I don't know if I'm going to read that out loud, but Sugar Poppy, yes. Sark had a very good day.
Just drug
his boys.
So there you go. There it is. It was a very good day for Sark and
his son, the
Texas.
walk-on.
Yeah, exactly. $4.99 from James. Love Wisner's vision. Talk about out it.
You know, I don't know what that means, but Wisner, remember, guys, when he was recruited, he was kind of a running back receiver. Yep. He didn't even have a dominant senior year at DeSoto. The signing day national signing day press conference where they hand out the rosters and the bios, Texas had him listed as a receiver. Now, all of a sudden, he's running back one. He shows good vision. He's running tough, though, too, man.
Yeah,
he's
great today.
Yeah, dude. I mean, seeing him catch passes or break into the open field isn't surprising, but he initiates contact. He runs through tackles. Really nice development by Trey Wisner, and he was really, really good today.
He's hitting the hole faster than Blue, and he's running through tackles more so than Blue is. And those are two really, really important things. I don't know if Blue's a little lost or if he's still harboring an injury that they're not talking about, but he just doesn't look right. And all of the things that I kind of mentally am nitpicking him for. And quite frankly, I talked to a source this week that was like, look, he's got to stop waiting for blocks, and he's got to just hit the hole when it's there. Like he did again. There's a tentativeness where it's like he's waiting for a yellow brick road to kind of open up for him. And Wisner is mixing it up. And you can't say enough good things about Wisner. If I had said Trey Wisner was a 5-star coming out of high school, and that was the first time you'd ever seen Trey Wisner play running back, you'd be like, oh, I get it. He's a 5-star. That's what 5 stars look like.
Yeah. And by the way, we should probably all start mixing in some Quintravions because his mama wants us to call him Quintravion, and it is a pretty badass name. So maybe we need to be mixing in Quintravion Wisner, especially if he plays well against Georgia.
That and he rushes for 30 yards next week, people will say that I jinxed him.
Okay, so we won't have you do it.
Wait till they play Oklahoma again. There's no risk there.
You can wait till after Georgia. How about that?
Oh, Vanderbilt looms as
after
a competitive
the Georgia
game. Okay. I'm not doing today. Was the day.
Today was the day. Okay.
Today, if it was going to happen, it needed to happen before today's game because Oklahoma posed zero risk of making me the jinx because I started calling him by a different name.
Gotcha. All right. Thanks to all of you for jumping in with Super Chats. We'll get some more Super Chats in. Jason Suchomel, of course, joining us for the beginning of the post-game show here. Jason, anything that we haven't hit that you wanted to get into from 34-3? We do have Anwar coming up from the Cotton Bowl at some point, but anything else that we haven't hit that you wanted to hit before we let you go?
Yeah, the most exciting thing in the second half that y'all haven't talked about, Cooper Manning's cowboy hat. What was that?
I didn't even see that.
I missed it. What? Tell us, what kind was it? Did he go straw?
It's
was
like
it
the
felt?
biggest cowboy hat I've ever seen. I'll have to find it on Twitter and send you a picture.
Big enough to fit on Peyton's head?
Yes. It was basically like a sombrero, but a cowboy hat, dude. It was the wildest damn thing. I was like, and he must have had that thing on the entire game. So even Kirk Herbstreit goes, "That's a big ass hat."
I didn't see it.
That's good. I got to go back and watch the TV broadcast now because I did not see that. That is awesome. Jason, give us a quick thought. Looking ahead to Georgia, what's the first thing on your mind as you're thinking about that game for next week? What Texas is going to need to do to beat Georgia?
Well, my first thought is actually I'm going to be busier than hell with recruiting because there's going to be a lot of guys down there. I'm going to be down there stalking campus for that game.
In the dark.
What they've got to do is just play cleaner than they have the last two games. You got to hope that Quinn Ewers, maybe this was just a game where he was having to shake off some rust. They're going to be physical on defense. I'm not really worried about that. You got to be able to run the ball. this is, to me, is going to be probably a close game where it comes down to, turnovers or special teams. One of those types of things may make the difference. But certainly Texas can win that game. They'll probably be favored, I would think, playing at home. But they're going to have to play
2.5-point favorite, I think.
Is that right?
The early line.
But they're going to have to be better than they were this week and even against Mississippi State. So, we'll see. Okay, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to send you this tweet.
By the way, they were better today against Mississippi State than
That's true,
Georgia was today against Mississippi State.
Yeah, it's true. Won by, it was a sluggish. What was the final score of that one? How bad did Texas beat them?
Hold on. I'll bring this up so you don't have to do anything. By the way, after we do this, we need to just rapid fire knock out super chat questions before Onward gets on.
Okay.
And then we have like 30 stacked up. That is wow.
Holy smokes.
That's not even a cowboy hat.
Google search Cooper Manning, and it's all you find. It's all pictures of him in his cowboy hat.
Jason, if we make that thing black instead of straw, it's a pilgrim hat.
That's rough. It is. That's a Miles Standish waiting to happen.
I love this. It's just like trending.
Make it black and you make it black and put a buckle on it. Whoa.
He bought that from an Amish person in Pennsylvania.
That's the kind of hat Doc Hastings will wear when he's out in the sun, out on the farm sometimes doing some spraying mesquite.
No sunburn on days when you wear that
That's
hat.
right. That's like a Doc Hastings spraying the mesquites kind of hat is what that is. Good grief.
I'm going to
unreal.
plug in my computer real quick.
All right.
I'll just put some super chats up and I'll be right back.
All right, we will do it. There you go. So, Jason, we will let you go. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of college football. And it's true. Let me see. He is not. So we'll do what Ken said. Yeah. Let's roll some super chats here. Okay. $4.99 from Bates. ATX Bates, who I also met today. Texas reminds me of Royce Gracie in the first UFCs where they would get you in the clinch and 20 minutes later, you're choked out. Jason, we talked about it last week that, about the confidence you can get from a defense as a fan, the trust that you can have in your team. I watched that Texas defense play 2 or 3 series today, and I just knew whatever the number was, I just knew Oklahoma wasn't going to be able to. They weren't going to be able to score enough. I mean, that defense, even when the Texas offense tested them a little early and put them in a couple bad spots, Texas defense just immediately stood up.
Yeah, like this game just never, because of the Texas defense and Oklahoma's offense, this game just never felt like there was any kind of threat to Texas. We talk about the offense, and this is a great offense with Quinn Ewers and great receivers and Gunnar Helm and maybe the nation's best offensive line. It's going to be this defense that's going to carry this team if they end up, winning a national championship or competing for a national championship. That defense shows up every single week. There was, one drive, maybe 2 against Mississippi State where people were panicking because Mississippi State was able to run the ball a little bit. Like, no, man, this is a really, really good defense. And what we saw today, I don't know where they rank nationally in terms of statistics after this week, but I mean, that was a top 5 defense in the country that we saw on the field today.
Yeah, no doubt.
They've eyeball been great all season.
They have. Longhorn football edits with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Even with a C+ game from Quinn, still beat that ass. OU sucks with exclamation points and emojis.
C+ game, and that might be generous. And it still felt like a name your score type of game. I mean, I still think Texas could have got into the 40s or pushed for 50 if they really wanted to.
For Quinn, is that a fair grade for you guys? Is C+ too much?
I said C-.
You'd say C-.
I'm not going to quibble, but it's C something.
C something, yeah. I told you I thought it was just a flat C. I felt like
what? I'll give him a C+ because he ran for a first down with his feet and had the rushing touchdown late.
Yeah.
That'll get him into the plus.
Well, and also like Holly Rowe talked about reporting from the sideline, the fact that he stayed in it mentally, he didn't seem rattled by stuff. He just rolled, he got through everything and didn't seem to give off any bad energy, and they end up winning 34-3. So got to give him some credit for that, I think, as well.
Chad, what was, in your mind, the game was decided in what quarter?
The game was decided when Bolden covered that ball, made it 14-3.
So in the second quarter?
Yep.
In the second quarter, hold on. There's people are posting corn dogs on Orange Blows. I don't know what that's about.
People are happy. They're eating corn dogs and loving it.
In the second quarter, Quinn was 10 of 12 for 109 yards and a touchdown, good for a 181.7 rating.
Okay.
Now look, in the first quarter, it was a 41.8 rating. right? So that's 140 points lower than the second quarter. In the third quarter, he was 121.8. That's not good either.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the fourth quarter, he had a 6.4 rating, but there were only a couple of attempts. It wasn't a big deal. But
draining the clock a lot.
But, for 3/4 of this game, he was very substandard. Really, maybe it's too harsh to say that about the fourth,
right?
But you could say through 2/3 of this game, he wasn't good enough. But in the quarter that decided the game, he was really good, and I think that that's enough for today.
Yeah, it'll do right in a game like this.
Because what didn't happen was where Texas jumps up 31-3, and then he throws 2 late touchdown passes, and it looks like a cosmetic.
Right.
He did the work he needed to do when it was, he helped between 7-3, and really he started it that drive, right? But from the last drive of the first quarter through the second quarter, he was probably playing at an elite national level in terms of efficiency. And so, that's the positive. If Sark on Monday, I go, you know what? He struggled. I think everybody saw that. But there was a stretch in that game when it was more like the Quinn that we needed, and he got us to halftime, and I was really pleased with his play. And then we really came out and felt like, let's control the line of scrimmage, let's run the football, let's not make any mistakes, and there's no way they can beat us. And that's how we kind of treated the offense. And he's not wrong. The why you were conservative offensively, like Jason said, until that double pass at the end of the fourth quarter, you could come up with 100 reasons. One of them could be, well, Quinn wasn't playing all that great and we wouldn't take any chances.
Yeah.
Or you could just say, unless we just threw up all over ourselves, that team was not going to come back and win that game.
Yeah, you could see it the way your defense was playing at that point. Oscar with a 4.99. Stutzman's a loser. But anyways, we need to celebrate how that defense stood up in the first quarter when Quinn and the offense let them down. Yeah, Oscar, we just talked about it a little bit, but it is one of those things that you'll forget sometimes in 34-3. But to hold OU, the first field goal was missed. Right, that first mistake from Quinn cost Texas nothing, and then ultimately the defense, does enough where you get. Yes, you gave up eventually a 3-0, but that was it. And they, to hold to that point was certainly impressive. I think they'll get their credit for that this week. This is just a bunch of capital letters of a 199. He's going for the corner. Thank God I was born a Texas Longhorn. Hook 'em! Exclamation point. That's what they're doing in Dallas.
Hey, man, if I was at the game today and I was drunk,
oh my God,
I'd just think to myself, we're never losing this game again.
Right.
As long as Sark's recruiting like this.
Yeah.
They have to have, they got to get back to at least having a Dylan Gabriel level quarterback.
Right.
And they don't have that. And boy, that looks like, is that the worst personnel decision that you can remember a head coach at a major college making? Think about it for a second.
You're talking about the whole quarterback Dylan Gabriel thing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there was, Georgia let Justin Fields get away from them.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen some transfers occur, but they boxed a preseason All-American. I mean, that's, it wasn't like he went to Oregon and people thought that he was thought to be a preseason Heisman candidate. They're in a big game today. They let that guy. It's like watching Let's Make a Deal, and it's like it's not a Mercedes, Chad, right? But it's a Lexus,
right?
It's a BMW,
yeah.
And it's like, no, I want what's behind the curtain number 3, and then it's a goat.
A goat in a wagon. I was thinking an animal in a wagon. You and I were thinking the same thing.
Either a goat in a wagon or a donkey in a wagon, but it's not a BMW,
Jason, I thought of an example, but I'll let you go first. Can you think of anything you'd compare it to, the quarterback thing at OU?
I don't know. Like Venables acted when he was asked about it a couple weeks ago, like he didn't force him out, but yeah, I don't really know. I really can't. Honestly, someone said Cam Newton maybe at Florida. Yeah, maybe.
The only thing that popped into my head, guys, would be someone losing both of those quarterbacks at A&M. Is that could you make a similar? Is that a comparison?
No,
Yeah, but you didn't
because
pick
like
one.
who did he choose?
Neither.
That's the issue.
Okay,
In
you're saying
this
it's a
instance,
choice. Well, he
they
chose
had-
to let both of them
They
walk.
had
I don't
a
know if
guy
that's the
that
same
was
thing.
a made guy. He was the hero of the Texas game. They took the MVP of the Texas game,
Right.
the win, the MVP of the Texas win.
Yeah.
And 2 months later, they told that guy, we can't guarantee that you're going to be the starter.
I can't think of not a direct comparison, no.
It's hard.
Because neither of those Aggie quarterbacks would have had a win to compare it to. Were there some kind of big ones or real? Yeah, there were some pretty big ones, but nothing like that.
Look, if someone lets Kyler Murray walk after he's done what he's done at Oklahoma, right?
Right. Then maybe that.
And he wasn't that good. I'm trying to think of an excellent, because it has to almost be somewhat recent because of the portal, right? Because in the old days, you wouldn't be afraid of a guy transferring. He's
Right.
have to sit out a year anyway. So why would you sit out a year? He's going to be gone in a year. So it's actually a very limited scope. It's like,
and we are talking about a 3-loss football team last year by the end, right?
Yeah.
So to be fair to that, it wasn't like he chose somebody. He didn't choose someone
I
over
don't think he's great.
a playoff quarterback.
I think he's very good.
Yeah.
And they traded very good for complete unknown.
Yeah.
And what they're left with right now, I don't know how he keeps his job unless he's able to go into the portal and find and look, maybe they can, because I think Oklahoma will look on paper very attractive to a quarterback in the portal.
Yeah, I would think so. And you also just think, I just don't know how you stare at that football game and think that maybe another quarterback wasn't a good idea. All right, it looks like Anwar Richardson
Vanderbilt
just
drove 90,
ready to go.
90-something yards, drove down the field 90-something yards to take a 7-0 lead. Vanderbilt, 90-something yards.
Well, you know what, Jason Suchomel? That sounds like a game you need to go watch. My SEC
97-yard drive. Yeah.
I think you need to go check it out. All right, Jason Suchomel, always appreciate you. Have a good night.
Okay, guys, we'll see you.
That is Mr. Suchomel, and look at that. He is replaced by the man in the suit.
First of all, Catch will appreciate this. You being Anwar's third-ranked Vanderbilt Commodores are driving
that love today, Anwar. Don't you worry. You don't even have to say it.
Have you? I appreciate it because
it absolutely came up.
I got massacred this past week. I'm not gonna lie. It body slammed me.
No, you have gotten your absolute credit for that one. Do not worry. We got some super chats lined up, but of course, Anwar is right there at the Cotton Bowl. All right, Anwar. So give us your thoughts. We've obviously been going through things on our end of it. 34-3 was the final. What do we need to know from post-game reaction? I'm assuming it was positive.
Well, I'll give you just a quick update, obviously, which was Sark said as it relates to Isaiah Bond, it was an ankle injury. He said that he injured it during the game early, tried to come back in, re-aggravated it, and then all of a sudden they decided just to let it go. So that's where it is as relates to Isaiah Bond, something that they will continue to monitor. And then, the other thing that he said that I just thought was interesting, and it kind of goes through a little bit of flow. It was like he said when they won this game 2 years ago, it was like they almost won the Super Bowl, right? Everyone was super hyper excited about this. And this one was almost business-like, hey, we're happy. We got the win. The trophy's coming back. But we got to move on to other things. And so that's kind of where they are as far as I think really excited about it. And of course, you will appreciate this from your end, Chad, is that Sark walks into the press conference with a Fletcher's corny dog.
Oh, that's funny.
Now that's nice. That's a good flex.
And he goes, I got my corny dog, y'all. And he's eating it. And literally, so someone asked him, well, how's it taste? I asked him, how's it taste? He's like, this is amazing. And
was his first time?
Yes.
Wow.
And so literally during the presser, he's literally eating the dog.
Town.
He's eating a dog when somebody else is talking. He's literally
you do that when you win by 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, you do. Okay, now let me clarify on what that was. Sark or a player? I may have misheard.
Sark. That was Sark.
So wait a minute, 49-0 wasn't enough to get a corn dog?
Because he got asked this week, hey, Venable says he hasn't ever had a corn dog. and Sark had to cop to.
Okay.
I also have not had a corn dog from the state fair.
And he said if we win, I'll go. Okay.
I don't
right.
need, he didn't say that. He just
hadn't had one.
I think
He said if they win, that he may have a chance to go out and get one. So I think someone just like they saw that and they're like, yo, dude.
Fletcher's was
go.
like, hey,
yeah, right.
The winning coach in this game was going to have a Fletcher's corn dog in their hand at the end of the game.
They were
Fletcher's are like, we'll take that free advertisement, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, that is awesome.
We will take that.
By the way, Anwar, real quick.
I know we have super chats as well. Go ahead.
I agree with Sugar Poppy for $5. Anwar looking like a damn stud muffin. You are looking sharp. Sharp.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
In fact, based on the performance today, it was good enough to beat this OU team. I think you're looking sharper than Texas played today. How about that?
He definitely looks sharper.
Yeah,
than
right.
Texas played today.
Yeah, you're looking like an A, and we've been giving them like a C or a C plus.
Y'all just made my day. Y'all just keep talking. You praise rankings. You're telling me I'm looking sharp, man. I don't know if this is my last day on earth or not, but I'm just going to enjoy it. This is it. This is how I'm going out. I'll see. I appreciate it. Do you want to get in those super chats before you?
Yeah, we're gonna. In fact, this is one we definitely want to grab because we do like a 50 spot when we like looking for money. Ryan, thank you so much for $49.99. Says thank you guys for coming out to TCH Social. Hated to miss the watch party, but I'll catch you guys at the next one. And as I mentioned, TCH Social says come on out for all the games.
Come out tonight.
Yeah, come on.
It's a great night.
They're open 24 hours. First off, that's the first thing. Late games tonight. Want to come out and check out that Boise game and the running back or some of those other late games. LSU Ole Miss is going on right now.
Ryan told me earlier in the week, like I'm invited for a Liverpool game.
Yeah.
You know, they're early.
They go early in the morning.
Yeah.
Usually,
so I got to find the right game, but I want to come watch Liverpool play on that screen.
Nice. Ryan, we appreciate the hospitality. It's been awesome here today.
Hey, by the way, Ryan, one of your managers, I can't remember who it was, but he will tell you, I have no doubt. There were two guys. First two guys here were like, the manager looks like Justin Timberlake.
Oh.
And I said, he does not look like Justin Timberlake. And Ryan and Anwar are both going to appreciate this story for different reasons. So we called the guy over, or I just called the guy over. I was not going to let that go. I was like, hey, what's the celebrity that you get told that you look like? And I wonder if Ryan will know who I'm talking about based on his answer. Anwar, he said Kevin Spacey.
Oh.
And so when we told them that these two dudes like were ready to jump him because they thought he looked like Justin Timberlake, he was very happy.
That's funny.
I was like, dude, for the rest of your life, the next time you get asked that question, you get to say, well, just, most recently, I was told that I look like JT.
Yeah, you go to that forever. As long as you can go. That's what you do with that one.
It's like if someone tells Anwar, today you look like, Anwar, anybody ever tell you look like Denzel Washington? You just like a young Denzel. You just say that all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You take that and
run. You're on Tinder and someone's like, hey, who do people tell you that you look like, Denzel? A young Denzel.
Take that.
Glory Denzel.
Take that. I'd even take that. I'll take that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I tell everybody. They say I look like Denzel. Chad, No. They said I look like Denzel.
I literally had someone say that to me. You can't take it away.
That's right. Steven with a $9.99 super chat. Buy or sell. Texas versus Bama in the SEC title game with Texas winning by 3. Fellas, you ready to buy Texas and Bama?
Sell, because Ketch will tell you that he'll know that I'm not that high on Bama right now.
Okay.
Well, I don't know how anybody after they've got a loss and after what we saw again today
and win by that much today.
They let South Carolina go on a 19-0 run on them and at home in that game.
Took the lead. Yeah.
They're literally like a play away from winning that game.
So for you guys right now, is next week dress rehearsal until we find out more information?
Yeah, because if Georgia loses, they're out. And then a Texas A&M game, because they'll have 2 SEC losses. The idea, like A&M's place at that point, knowing that they don't have to play either Alabama or Georgia.
Right.
It's like where are we getting? You can point and say, well, A&M loses to Texas. It makes the rest of their schedule look different, right? It's like, okay, so that LSU South Carolina stretch, with no disrespect to Auburn, because that could be a tricky game because it's on the road in the SEC. But no, I'm not ready to take it to the bank. I predicted Texas over Alabama in the SEC championship game,
Right.
But no, as of today, I don't know that I feel good about that at all.
So, Anwar, for you, do you think next week we could be – people have talked about maybe it's 3 different chapters of Texas and Georgia if things play a certain way. Do you think next week is going to have the feel of a chapter 1 of a continuing story?
I don't know. I don't think so, because like I said, that's going to be 2 for them. I think you got to start looking at the
if
other
Texas
team.
wins.
Yes,
if Texas wins,
right?
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Now that's the caveat to it, right?
Yeah.
But outside of that, though, I think you got to start looking at what programs that maybe have an easier schedule. More so than anything else. Like, it may end up being one of these dark horses that you're not looking at right now. Like, it may be something like, let's say, like an Ole Miss, for instance, where you look at the schedule, you're like, they got LSU, Oklahoma, which we know is not good, Arkansas, maybe Georgia, Florida, Mississippi State. Like, it may be somebody like that sneaks in, and they may not be the best, but just because of sheer scheduling, that ends up being the team that you're like, that's the number 2 one.
Hey, guys, real quick, because we're having this conversation. So, by the way, Ohio State just scored. So I want to give you – so Ole Miss and LSU 0-0 going to the second quarter.
Okay. Oh, the people that took the over are not happy.
It's very late. There's 1:11 left in the second quarter.
Uh-huh.
Florida's up 3-0 in Knoxville.
Okay.
They just intercepted a Tennessee pass, so it's 1st and goal, or it's 1st and 10 at the 11. So Florida a chance to get points. 5 minutes ago, Florida had 1st and goal at the 1 and fumbled.
Wow.
And Tennessee got out of it without any damage.
Okay.
But now Florida threatening again. I only bring this up not to say Florida's about to upset Tennessee, only to say, as we talk about teams that maybe SEC championship game threats or not.
Yeah, Tennessee's already got 1 loss.
They've got 1 loss.
Yeah.
They can't afford another. They have tougher games on their schedule than Florida at home remaining. And that Ole Miss LSU game is a bit of an elimination game to some degree, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I guess LSU doesn't have a loss yet, do they?
LSU does not
They
have
have the USC loss. That's the only
They do not
loss
have a conference loss.
So that's a more important game for Ole Miss than it is for LSU.
Correct.
But there will be teams taking L's tonight in the SEC that will impact this conversation that we're having.
I totally agree with you. The number 2 team might be the team that has 2 losses, and we get into that crazy tiebreaker.
It's not crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
it's going to get into that crazy tiebreaker situation where we got to get down to a coin toss to figure it out.
Yeah, that's the thought I've been having, guys, is I think a 3rd loss will kick you out of Atlanta officially, and then a 4th loss would kick you out of the playoff officially. But I don't know that we'll need to see how it plays out. I could see, like Anwar saying, I could see like a log jam for the other team, right? Like if it's clearly Texas with 0 or 1 loss, and then there's just this weird log jam right underneath them of 2 loss teams, and you have to figure out the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
I could see that in Atlanta.
The one saving grace that Texas may have this season, it's too early to say it yet, because it could be that Anwar's right that we might get to November and there's a string of teams with 1 loss. So your wiggle room to get to the SEC could be complicated because of tiebreakers. But, Texas is not the only undefeated team right now, and they have 0 losses in conference play. Georgia can't say that. Tennessee can't say that. Alabama can't. The
Aggies are undefeated.
The Aggies are undefeated, and LSU's undefeated.
Right.
But beyond that,
those 3.
So all those 3 teams have a little bit of wiggle room.
Yes.
LSU's might be gone tonight when it's all said and done if
Right.
Ole Miss beats them.
Yeah.
But A&M and Texas get to navigate the rest of the way. If they lose a game, they still probably control their destiny in that respect. And it is the thing that both Georgia and Alabama have given away.
Yeah.
That they almost have to feel 2 losses. They're not eliminated, but they're knocking on the door of it.
Hey, Anwar, we've talked about this play already, but I want to hit this super chat and get you to talk about it. Going for the corner, $4.99. Bolden's was a culture play. Sark has this team dialed in. hook 'em, and OU sucks. Thank you, going for the corner. Anwar, we've already talked about it, but give me your thoughts on the Bolden play to cover that ball in the end zone to make it 14-3, and also kind of how it played in the stadium. Like, you're right there in the press box watching. You know how this game can swing back and forth with emotion. What was it like in the house at that moment?
Well, of course, when it happens, at the time, it was so quick. It was like bang, bang, right? And so, culture play, heads up, whatever you want to call it, but it was obviously a huge moment for them because all of a sudden you see a Texas running back putting the ball on the ground again, and you're like, oh snap, here we go. And then all of a sudden, he recovers it and he scores, and there was that string, string really in that half where when the floodgates kind of open and it's just everything just started going Texas's way. But it just it's kind of like good teams find a way to win the same way bad teams find a way to lose, and at the end of the day they found their way to win. And it was a great play. Now clearly they play well in so many different areas. Like, it's not like there's not one thing about this team that you just say, my God, they are killing it in this particular area. Not at the quarterback position, the running back position, maybe to a certain degree, you might say offensive line, defensive linemen. They're just a really well-oiled machine, and they're a really good team. Like a really, really, really good team that has some very good individuals, but you don't look at one area and you're just like, whew, man, they are carrying this team. Like,
they haven't peaked on war. They're still finding what their stride is.
Yeah, they just had two sluggish wins, and think about the final scores: 2 sluggish but comfortable wins by the end. Conference wins, yeah.
And I tell you what really helps them. And look, I think you have to make bad teams look bad, right? I don't buy the notion of what they don't play anybody, right? It's like, no, you still got to make them look a certain way. Like, you have to dominate them. So you got to give them credit for that. But I will say this, though, they've done a really good job of making average to below average quarterbacks look really average to below average, because every single one that they've played, whether it's the Michigan game, whether it's the Oklahoma game, like, you go through it, they have made all those guys look pedestrian, like every single one. And you just wonder, like, man, how does this guy have a scholarship? And really, once you get past Beck next week, you go through a list, and of course Vanderbilt. So maybe the back-to-back of 2 really good quarterbacks, and then you just kind of go like shoulder shrug a little bit. So they do a really, really good job of game planning, scheming, especially defensive wise, to make sure that those quarterbacks are just not teeing off.
I mean, based on what we've seen so far, fellas, Beck, Pavia, Wigman. Do we give Wigman enough credit for what you saw against Missouri, or do you need to see more before you'd say those are the 3?
No, that's fair, because I don't know who the third guy would be if it's not.
Okay. Anwar, would you agree there? Because I thought,
hold on. I'll go. Florida.
Okay.
Graham Mertz is the 12th leading passer in the country right now.
When he's on, they can look pretty good. Yeah.
So maybe it's a Mertz-Wigman conversation.
Yeah. And Anwar, I'll be honest, I thought when Texas went to Fayetteville, they would be facing a pretty good I don't know what Arkansas's quarterback situation is going to be. I mean, like, I thought Talon Green is his name, right? Yeah. I thought by the time they got to that game in Fayetteville, I thought the combo of him and the running back, I thought that could
still be the case.
I thought it could be dangerous. I just don't know, Anwar, now if it's dangerous or not. Fayetteville's dangerous all by itself. I don't know if he is.
But the difference between this team and the other years, and again, Ketch and I have done a billion of these shows. Chad, you're going to start catching up to us as well. We have seen times where the backup has come in games and in previous years and been really dominant, and you've been to yourself like, what the hell just happened here? And you're like, why are they struggling against a backup quarterback? Now they're just at the point where the starters who are in there, the defense has done an incredible job against that. They scheme really, really well against those guys. And at the end of the day, they've had 4 out of 6 games. One of their opponents hasn't scored double-digit points. And there's, I think the most they've given up is it 13, Chad, that they've given up this season? I think 13 against Mississippi State. They gave up 12.
Right.
I think they're 12
Yeah.
against Michigan. And then in the other 4 games, they have not allowed, hell, they haven't allowed more than a touchdown in the other 4 games.
That's a great point, Anwar. It's zip with Colorado State, 7-3-3 in those other games.
They're
and then
so well-rounded.
And then you
right
you nailed Michigan and Mississippi State. Yeah, that's impressive. And again, we keep talking about it. It's just the offense gave you the offense had stop and start, but that defense. I mean, that's the confidence level. That's the trust. If you're a fan of this team right now, that you trust that defense is not going to put you in a bad spot. And it's not going to put the team in a bad spot. They're playing so good right now. In fact, it kind of gets us to our next super chat. Thank you to Pat and John Tran, $20. Thank you for that super chat. And he added in 4 simple words that will make all Texas fans happy. I think he's damn right. Texas fears no one. It's a good way to say it. Not only are they the number 1 team, but they seem like a team that can deal with any kind of game you put in front of them. Now we're going to see what it looks like when you put a better quarterback in front of them, because they just haven't seen a badass version of that yet. They just haven't.
No, they haven't.
Yeah. So that's going to be that's that next step. Now snap the ball to a guy that's really good, because
go get a test, because I don't think Carson Beck is great.
I don't either, but at times
he's very good.
I mean, what did Jason tell us? He threw for 459 today.
No, he's very good.
That's that's pretty impressive.
But I mean, he should have. It was Mississippi State.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair too. Thank you for those super chats rolling in. Anwar, you mentioned the Isaiah Bond injury earlier. That they mentioned that it was an ankle injury, but didn't. At this point, doesn't seem like it is a super serious thing, but obviously that's something we'll monitor for next week. Anything else along those lines come out of the game for you? Any other injury stuff, or just kind of things you're going to be cooking on as we head into Georgia week?
No, but one of the things I will say, when you look at a game like this, and again, with the difference between this year and maybe previous years, when you get that Longhorn PTSD starting kicking in, and you think to yourself, okay, look, Texas has started off, and here you go, the third play of the game, there's an interception. You're like, oh snap, here we go. And then there's such a slow start, and you're like, okay, is this team going to rise up? And then eventually, Texas does what it does, and it pulls away. We're halfway through the season now, and so teams are who they are at this point. Like there's not going to be too many surprises. There's not many going to be new wrinkles. You're not going to go to practice this week and somehow get better, or as we joke about the cliches, or you get better from week 1 to week 2. Like that's not happening, right? You are who you are, and you can say through 6 games of the season that there hasn't been a team that's looked dominant, as dominant as Texas, and has played as consistently well as Texas. There isn't one. Every single one has had their struggles. Every single one has had their downfalls. Every single one has not looked up, the way Texas has, which is beating everybody soundly. And so, I think if you're a Texas fan, especially the Oklahoma game, we kept telling ourselves, okay, well, that's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. And at the end of the day, you realize it's not going to happen. Like it may happen one day, but it's not going to happen today. You realize that they were not on the same level as far as Texas is concerned, and it's very few times you'll be able to say that. But they weren't close to their level. Yeah,
Anwar, we'll see what Ohio State looks like by the end of tonight. They may be the closest thing that I could think of, right? Are they the closest team to when you're saying? And I agree with you, Anwar. Texas is that team clearly. The next best thing, because Ohio State's had. There have been a couple moments maybe where they were a little shaky, but overall they've handled their business, right? They'd be the other team right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, they're in a game right now.
They are, right. But that's also a 2-3 ball game.
No, I know.
Yeah, so we'll see where that's why next week is so badass. It was going to be badass anyway, but now we're setting it up. We've gotten here, fellas, and it is 2 undefeated teams, and it's Austin, and it's a night kick, and game day's coming in the morning. Like Texas, Georgia is cooking up to be what we thought it could be. It's going to be – we'll see what they do with the rankings tonight. I would hope they leave Texas at number 1.
I would imagine.
Doing what you did against a rival like that, I would hope no matter what happens in Outson, the winner of this should be 2. If I'm a voter.
If Ohio State wins this game, they'll cipher. Texas had 50-something first place votes in
Yeah.
both polls.
Get a couple maybe, but you
Not
should
get a dozen,
it
but
shouldn't
it should
swing.
still be
right. It shouldn't swing over. So, we're looking at a 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4 kind of game next week with Texas and Georgia. All right, we got a lot of super chats in. Hooked on the Horns kind of throws in. I see what you're doing here, Hooked. $5. Oklahoma fears Texas. Texas fears no one. That's well done. Well played. Little Stutzman t-shirt.
Hold on.
Blast.
Hold on.
Yes. What you got? What you
We
got?
interrupt this programming.
$49.99 from Dark Borg. God, it feels amazing to leave that stadium after a win, especially after we spanking that. Hook 'em. Dark Borg, safe travels.
I love it when they come out of the game. You know they're a little drunk.
Oh, you
And
know.
like it's like $50, bam.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm gonna say, hang on. I'm gonna catch one of them super chatter things.
You know what? Catch. Do you know when people started booing in the stadium when they put something on the jumbotron that says they're going to stop alcohol sales heading into the fourth quarter?
Oh,
So after the end of the third quarter, they said alcohol sales are going to stop, and people were like, "Boo!" And you knew those were the ones who had been drinking all day.
That is so good. Dark Borg, get home
Sorry,
safely.
I just want to let people know, Dark Borg skipped a deep line. And last time Texas beat Oklahoma 2 years ago, we had a few $100 super chats.
Okay.
So I'm like, which one of you is going to ball her up and be the super chatter of the night? Because it's a tradition that when Texas beats Oklahoma,
Got to have some big ones.
that we get some big ones.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
just saying.
Texas threw out a 31-point win. We would love some big super chats if you have them. Now, this super chat will probably not make Catch happy, but Catterall Mitchell, $4.99. I DM'd Anthony Hill about you putting 28 over him. By the way, disrespect. Damn.
I don't care.
Messages to Hill. Damn.
I mean, I don't.
Catch did apologize earlier to Anthony Hill for doing that, by the way.
And then I also said I wanted thank yous.
You wanted to thank you.
That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I did that.
Yeah.
People were like, yo, you've been disrespected. He played lights out. Give the person who disrespected him some credit.
And maybe we should also give credit by connection, by proxy to Catterall, because if Anthony Hill saw that DM, that may be what fired him up today. Extra
Wait,
focus.
I just wanted to know in his mind, what did he think was going to happen when he sent the DM? Like he's like, "Hey, you're not going to believe this, but Jeff Ketchum said this about you. Ain't that some bullshit?" And then was he expecting Anthony to go, "You know what? F that Ketchum guy. You're right. Thanks for showing that to me. I appreciate it. You know what? I actually wasn't going to play hard at all, but you know what? Now hearing this, I'm actually going to go harder."
There we go. Benjamin. Come on, Benjamin. 99.
Benjamin drops a Benjamin.
Yeah.
Benjamin, you know what they say about a 99.99 super chat? Cost you a little bit less than 100.
You know what
Good deal.
You know what I hear they say about Benjamin?
What's that?
Well endowed.
Well endowed. Yeah. You know what else I hear about Benjamin? They say he's got 4 $99.99 super chats in him every postgame show.
I mean, that's what I hear.
That's what I hear.
The same people that say he's well endowed say that.
4. That's what I've heard.
Like I told BJ on Thursday, 4. He said, "What's the 4?" I said, "That's how many touchdowns Texas will win this game by."
And you hit it 4. It was actually 4 and an Auburn by the end of it, right?
Speaking of Auburn.
Yes.
Man, hey, onward as we move through these super chats, one of the things about the game that you knew how feeble Oklahoma was in this game, Auburn's out there missing field goal 2 in a row on the same possession, and they're like chuckling it up on the sidelines. That's when you know the other team is threatening you nada. Because that should have been like, dude, get your ass over here and like, why don't you go kick in the net or something? And instead, he missed it twice, and he was just like laughing it up. That's what you do when you play like a real crappy team. You can mess up, and it's funny.
They are crappy, but we did have another super chat come in, though.
I see that.
Hang on. Another big number.
They're meeting the challenge.
Steven, $99.99, and a buy or sell to go with it. Buy or sell. Texas Longhorns this season's natty champions. Oh, they're just going right to it. Steven. All right. Buy or sell. Texas wins the Natty, gentlemen.
I'll go buy as of today.
Anwar.
Today I would buy. I'd buy.
I think today, if that's the question, what's the team that –
Who's the team to beat in college football right now?
They're the team. Yeah.
They're the team.
I think they're the team. Again, we'll see what this looks like at the end of the game at Autzen Stadium. Ohio State deserves some respect in a discussion, and there are other teams, but right now for 4 quarters, yeah, absolutely.
Hold on. Just Oscar didn't go a Hyundai.
Okay.
But he did 1999.
I'm just so excited to be on the show for the first time. Hook 'em horns, Oscar. Come on, man. This is like Oscar's 1,000th chat.
Was that the same Oscar?
Or super chat? Isn't
that
that the same guy?
Oscar?
Maybe different guy. I'm sorry, different Oscar.
Yeah.
Maybe different Oscar. Oscar, welcome.
Oscar, welcome.
1999. Welcome.
Welcome to the Orange Bloods Live family.
Another Oscar. Man, look at that. We've got a couple Oscars here on Orange Bloods Live. That's exciting. All right.
There were some other super chats before that, by the way.
Oh, we know.
Thank
we
you.
have a lot of them.
Okay.
They're starred.
Yeah, Catch is putting me in charge of he's digging them up and I'm grabbing them. How about this one? Real quick from Paul, $4.99. The fact that Sark ran the double pass twice shows how worried he was about this game. They did run a double pass twice.
And one of the passes was like one of the worst. I think Catch put it in his column. Probably one of the worst receiver throws that we've seen.
No, just throws, period. Like
it was pretty bad.
Has anyone ever seen a player in a Texas uniform throw a worse pass?
In a Texas uniform, no. I'm old enough that the name that popped in my head was Garo Yepremian.
Oh,
like
I think this was worse than that.
It's the only thing I could think of was the Garo Yepremian play in the Super Bowl. Kids, look it up if you're not old enough to remember it. But Anwar, that's all I could think about. I don't think I've ever seen anybody in a Texas uniform try to throw a football that was any uglier than that. And then in the end, it does not matter at all. Like that's
they can joke about it, but literally, if he just puts it in a vicinity, that's like an easy touchdown.
Oh my God. I feel like Anwar, Catch, don't you guys feel like if I put you in that situation, if we could all fit into the pads and they give us that football, don't you think you could hit, was it Golden?
Yeah.
Don't you think you could hit Matthew Golden with that football?
I also want to say Oscar. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to say Oscar, I'm sorry that you were test buy or selling. And he did like $1.99 and then a $9.99 and then he did a $19.99. But he finally got a message in there.
Oh, okay.
I don't want you to think we were ignoring you. We have lots of backups. But Oscar, welcome.
Yes, exactly. And thank you to Paul for that one. Here's just sometimes it's just tip jar. Thank you, Ray, if that's what that was. $4.99 from Ray. We appreciate the support.
I interrupt this super chat session. Tom G is in his house.
Tom G. What do you got, Tom G? Come on, Tom G. Only thing better than 99.99 is 101. The Longhorns put football 101 on the Sooners today. Heading to Austin for F1 in Georgia. It's 7:45, and OU still sucks. 2 of the last 3 Red Rivers. We whoop that earth by 30 plus. How sweet it is. Texas did not make history today and get to 50, but Tom G is absolutely right. 2 out of the last 3, Anwar, you have got to watch live at the Cotton Bowl. Just 2 epic Texas beatdowns of OU. That's a good thing as a fan when you could just come out, you go in, come out. You don't have to worry about nervousness. Texas fans, nervous for a little bit maybe, but they got to enjoy a ton of this day.
There's 2 things at play here. 1, it helps what Sarkisian has built. 2, it shows that Brent Venables kind of sucks. Like
you missed that part of the conversation, but that's been said.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, you can continue, Anwar. I just don't want you to feel like that hadn't already been said because, we beat him with a club.
Okay, well, I have to go back and check that out. I mean, I'll check it out. But I think the hiring of Seth Luttrell as his OC is atrocious at this moment. I think it's probably one of the worst OU hires that they've had in a really long time. He's been unable to develop any quarterback. The run game sucks. The passing game sucks. I mean, they have no depth in any position. I understand. Like, okay, you got injuries at running back, but don't use that as your only excuse. You still got to be able to do something well. And even when healthy, they were able to do nothing well. So, I look, he'll fire Luttrell after the season because they'll have to.
He might not make it
but he
till December.
He'll be that scapegoat. He'll be this year if it keeps going. Yeah,
you gotta get rid of him, and then Venables is on a hot seat next year. But you know what I said last year going into the game, like what can't be a thing for Sark is you can't beat OU. Now the thing is for Venables is you're getting your ass beat in the losses to Texas.
Ooh, Anwar.
Yes,
You probably have not heard what Brent Venables said in the postgame show or in his postgame.
I did. I was sitting there.
You heard Venables?
So you were there for the I don't know answer.
Which one are you talking about?
We were told he was asked. I mean, you can verify it here. We were told he was asked about the difference between the gap between Texas
Is he surprised?
and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And his answer was just I don't know.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's pretty close to it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Yes.
Wow, that is rough. That's a rough answer to the question. Because my response, my smart ass follow up would be, yeah, Chad Hastings, Orange Blood Live. If you don't know, who does? Like, dude, you're the head coach of the Sooners.
I think he was just being more dismissive than admitting that he doesn't know. I just think some of his answers were a little short, so I don't take it like he's pleading ignorance. I just don't think he wanted the question. Sitting there in person, that's how I took it.
I'm just telling you right now, if Mac Brown had said that in 2003,
oh, God, after 65-13 or 63-14, oh no, they wouldn't have let him have it. They would not have let him.
By the way,
do that.
I am on OUinsider.com and the Rivals Network.
Yes,
they want Venables' head.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I can totally imagine. By the way, another one from Sugar Poppy for $10 that I'm not comfortable reading out loud, so I'll just let everybody. Oklahoma's not good. Oklahoma did not.
I'm not really bad. I'm not worried about saying booty juice.
That's okay. I'll let you have that one then. There you go. Sugar Poppy is enjoying himself tonight.
I'm telling you right now, I feel like if there was a can of booty juice on the table, it would taste better than the OU performance.
It would have to. And here,
you know what's surprised? I'm actually surprised what didn't make it to the post game is what Billy Bowman said actually before he left out of there.
Okay.
He said, in my opinion, they didn't earn what they got after the interception. He goes, we just gave it to them, but they didn't earn anything.
They didn't earn anything.
Yeah.
Wow. Boy, that's tough.
I mean, that's the stuff that losing. Find the question.
It's tough when you eat a 34-3.
There's a question about OU. There's a super chat about OU.
Okay.
And a bowl game.
OU and a bowl game. I don't see it.
Are we so caught? I swear there was one.
Greatest bad. Well, another bad embrace. No. My foot.
All right. Well, look, I thought I had seen one earlier, but you're right. I don't see it. So
yeah.
Maybe I just.
Here's one of how many games do they win?
Yes.
That one?
Yes, because
okay.
that's
essentially that. Okay, yeah. Sugar Poppy, $5. How many games does OU win this season?
I've got the schedule because I pulled it up.
Catch pulled it up. Here we go.
So look, they get Maine on November 2nd. They're 4-2 today.
So they win the November pillow. That gets them 5.
That gives them 5.
Okay. Can they get to a bowl?
This is their SEC schedule the rest of the way.
Yeah.
They play South Carolina at home next week.
Oh, man.
That's a very tough game.
That South Carolina team's pretty good. It's in maybe I give them a little bit because it's in Norman.
So hold on.
But okay.
They're at Ole Miss.
Yep.
Then they get the main game. Then they're at Missouri, which, as bad as Missouri looked, they do have a quarterback. Like, it's at home. That's not.
Yeah, we'll give them a chance to.
Then it's Alabama after the bye week, and then they're at LSU. It's really, really, really possible that next week's game against South Carolina is for bowl eligibility.
It could be. The two games I would point out are both road games, but to be fair, at one
they
point,
should have lost to Auburn, Chad. I want you to whatever you're about to say.
I understand.
I want you to remember that.
I understand. Here's the question I would ask. Are we certain that Ole Miss and Missouri are better than OU right now?
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yes. They can't score points.
Okay.
Michael Hawkins, OU has the worst quarterback situation in the SEC.
Yeah. No, it's
and
bad.
the problem with that is that going on the road, their game is next week.
I honestly might. I mean, I could make an argument to pick them to lose every game but Maine, because that South Carolina team is gritty. They're tough.
South Carolina's better than them.
Their quarterback
it's
plays
in Norman,
good.
Though, so, like, I'm willing to.
And that defensive front, I want everybody to imagine that defensive front of South Carolina matching up against OU's offensive line, still trying to figure some things. They're going to push them around
When
a
I
little
say
bit.
how many points does it take to win that game next week, the answer might be 15.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And they may get that, but it's
gonna be
that
rough.
may be, if they lose that game,
I know.
they've lost 3 out of 4. Whether they're 0, I guess they'd be 1-3 in the SEC. And then the murderer's row of, and the bad thing for them is, like, Ole Miss is on the road, Missouri's on the road, LSU's on the road. You get the game against Alabama at home, and Milroe and that offense will score points. So it's the same problem they have against Texas, which is
Right.
you could win that game with a pretty good offense, but how many points will it take to beat Alabama? And this Oklahoma defense isn't that good.
Yeah.
After seeing OU's defense and Michigan's defense is, for me, was easily Texas was doing. The thing is, when
Catch
Ewers was
105
struggling-
super chat.
Yeah. Oh, sorry for the interruption. Someone's fighting
Sorry.
for our love. Barb's 10, $105 US.
I love you.
F it. So glad to meet you today, Barb's 10. And I'm not just saying that because of what you just did. You're not taking the top spot, Tom G. Everyone spread the love for these guys' work. Appreciate
Volleyball
y'all.
clap.
Come on now.
Volleyball clap.
Oh, Barb's 10.
This is what happened the last time Texas beat OU 49-0.
There we go.
There was a competition.
That's what we need.
And I love the fact that Barb's has just decided, Tom, you don't get to win tonight.
Ooh, Barb's 10 and Tom G in a battle for our love. Let's go. Let's do it. Can we do that?
I've met both. I've literally seen both of them in person recently.
Yeah, we met Barb's 10 today.
And then I saw Tom last month.
Tom G, there you go. By the way, the answer ultimately to that previous question, the only thing I can guarantee is 5. I'm not trying to be a smartass. I'm not trying to be, super anti-OU guy here. You just showed me that schedule based on what I've seen catch. The only guarantee I have for people is I think they beat Maine. Anwar, I'd say 5, but that's all I can guarantee. Would you give them enough deference to say they'll get to a bowl and maybe find like 7 wins by the end of it?
I will respectfully give them 6.
Okay.
Respectfully. But what we have to see and what we don't know is, especially after something like this, which is that I will shut up. And whatever my thoughts were do no longer matter.
Oh, Benjamin. 199.99. That's exciting.
These are
Damn.
some
I
ballers
wish I had
right
alcohol
here.
to
The
toast.
only problem with
These
that is I was
are
hoping that
ballers
we were
right
about
there.
to get into like a 10, like a 110, and then we were going to increments.
That's okay. Now it'll go up by 100 every time. $100 increments every
Jesus,
time.
some
Benjamin, we appreciate
I
Ballers.
feel
you.
like I'm watching.
Benjamin, let me shut this down. Mic drop.
Hey, Mark, you're not wrong, Mark.
Hey, don't y'all let
Yo!
Benjamin. Don't y'all let. Oh yeah, Benjamin gets the yo.
Yo!
No,
There
like
it is.
Benjamin gets like at least 5 minutes dedicated to him, right? For two.
I already said he had a big Johnson. Like, I think he's good.
Well,
Okay,
Okay.
I mean,
I heard-
not
I heard
for two.
nobody pleases the ladies more than you know what this is. It's like in an American Pie
Here we go.
when he paid
Yeah.
the
Right.
girl to tell everybody that he was awesome in bed. Like, that's all this is now. It's like, Paul Finch.
Ooh.
Whoa, he's a master with the ladies.
We've always said Benjamin's the most attractive super chatter we have. It's always what we've said. Yes, all the time. All right.
Tom.
Oh, hang on. Hold on. What happened?
Oh, oh,
Oh, come on.
Tom G got mad that
Wait.
Benjamin
Wait a minute.
was
Wait
talking
Oh,
that ish.
All right. Is this what they call? Does a stack need to be 1,000? A stack is 1,000. So that's not 3 stacks.
Yeah.
This is 3 Benjamins.
Yes.
He went 3 times Benjamin.
Yes.
Benjamin. Well, he didn't go 3 times because you went
He's
1
not
9.
Andre
you are
three
really
stacks.
overanalyzing it, and what we really need to just talk
It's
about
Tom
is
G-
that
it's Tom G
just
3 Ben stacks.
Tom G.
yeah.
3 Benjamins.
Don't you're
right.
really making it corny right now, Chad. Please stop. Okay,
I'm so sorry.
You're
I'm
really
so sorry.
overanalyzing.
It
Stop
really-
all of that.
It is my worst sickness.
Judged
All right.
so harshly.
Like Texas, I'm sorry. At least he didn't say pedantic this time.
By the way,
I've had people looking up pedantic for me ever since Anwar hit me with that one.
We got here early and Chad was ordering. So yesterday, the question of how many beers Chad would have today. I've never seen someone come into a place, drink a couple, and then just stop.
That was me.
He just had
Discipline.
Had to work.
Team discipline.
Had to work. What did Nick Saban tell all of us today on game day? You're going to suffer from one of two things. You're either going to suffer from discipline or you're going to suffer from disappointment. I decided to suffer from discipline today. That's
By the way,
that would not have been me. I can tell you that much.
Well, if there's one thing
I would have tried to make it through.
Hey, if there's one thing I've learned about hanging with the old-fashioned and trying to drink with the old-fashioned, it's that I cannot compete with the old-fashioned.
Thank you, brother.
Tom, you are the man.
And I do want to play cards again soon. So, let's hook it up.
By the way, Tom G says, like Texas. Oh, wait, no, sorry.
I'm sorry.
We didn't actually read the message there.
Read the message.
We were so excited about the 300. Like Texas to A&M, it's time for all of you to know your daddy is around here. Welcome, Tom G. 300. Thank you, Tom G. Thank you so much.
Damn,
we love
said daddy.
We love all the super chats. Let's slip this one in. $4.99 from Oscar. Sorry guys, but not enough Stutzman shit talk in the chat tonight. Sure, Bowman too, but give me the Danny hate. We've gotten on.
No, don't worry about that. Just Oscar, I got that working for you. Don't worry about it. I got the response
not a
here.
second round pick.
Stutzman?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. All right.
Like there's nothing about him today. He's an NFL player.
Yeah.
Like a second round guy is I think almost like a surefire starter when you draft him. Like I Anthony Hill looked like a future NFL starting linebacker today. Danny Stutzman looked like a guy that on his day has a day, and today wasn't his day, and I was not impressed at all.
Anwar?
He's okay.
Yeah,
he's okay. I mean, he's a third day kind of person, special teams, that kind of something there, but nothing that when you talk about first roundish kind of stuff, that's when you really are saying I'm willing to risk my job for this person. Ain't nobody gonna risk their job for that guy.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, let's see. Biggest number I see on this list is right about 10 now. So whoever wants to top Tom G on that 300, you go right ahead. Jamari for $9.99 says Texas players planted the flag on the Baker Mayfield OU jersey midfield. Also, Quintavious wasn't great, but also wasn't bad. I'm still riding. He will not have another bad game. Embrace it, Unk. With some hook'em emojis mixed in.
The thing is, I don't think it matters. This team actually can survive, depending on the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
But this team today got like a C performance from its quarterback, and they won by 31 against a rival and a team that beat it a year ago.
On a neutral.
Yeah, look, there's no reason to be critical of Quinn today. Like, look, what we should have actually probably talked a little bit more about was, hey, he is coming off of an injury. If he's a little rusty, that shouldn't be a shock.
Right.
Is it a great thing? No. Should everybody throw a party? No. But if he were to come out in the first quarter, and I think we talked about it, right? Kick, defer. Like maybe this is a game where you don't take the ball first.
Yeah.
Texas gets the ball first, and the turnover happens.
Right. And that was OU deferring, I believe.
Onward, who won the kick? The coin toss.
Isn't that right? Didn't OU win the toss? I don't know.
I got to go back and look.
Okay.
Hold on one second, but I'm trying to get something loaded up in here for you.
Okay.
Hold on, just on the Jamari thing. I don't know, because again, you guys are doing this live. Ant Hill had put this out.
Okay, wait a second.
Oh, damn.
There we go. Oh, they did. Okay, they literally had a Mayfield jersey and they planted a flag. Okay.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
that literally happened, and he posted that after the game.
How much do y'all love rivalries? Like,
by the way,
that's the kind of stuff, Anwar, that makes me go back to like the Mac Brown days and the other people that will try to tell you that these games are the same as any other game. It just makes me laugh.
In the end, doesn't have to apologize for a damn thing.
Colin Simmons, what did he say? That he said they would dominate?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Especially his side of the ball, right? You can make an argument that the Texas offense may not have dominated from start to finish today, But man, Anwar, I said it to Catch. You tell me if you agree. You've seen a few of these games live now, right there in the stadium. I've never watched a Texas OU game where I thought a team could win 6-3. But that's what I watched today. Like if everything else had fallen apart and all Texas had was a couple Auburn field goals or they missed an extra point or something, they'd have won. And then in the end, I was right. I mean, you needed 4 points to win this game. That's crazy.
Yeah, but the thing is, what's crazy is that you felt like that was all the other team could generate. Because you knew at some point Texas was going to generate some points. You just looked down and said you were unsure how it was going to happen on the other side.
Does Michael Fasusi call Steve Sarkisian?
That's a great.
He should.
It's a great
he
point.
Should.
Well, hey,
should.
Let's take it step by step. If you're Michael Fasusi, can he find a way to get to the Texas-Georgia game? Or would that not be possible? Like, is that
it's still? No, I think
OU has a home game next week, so it would be interesting. You
know
okay,
all right, okay, yeah, you're right. They play South Carolina. You just said
Jason had already talked to someone who said that wasn't off the table.
Look, 100%. The thing is,
okay,
Susie has to know after today. There's a good chance that Brent Venables is not as if there's like a responsible adult who's around Michael Fasusi.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's telling him, hey, he might not be your coach.
Correct.
Are you okay with going to Oklahoma no matter what?
It's also that discussion, guys, of if the friend of his that's on the team that may get a scholarship from OU, it may be worth it just to check with Texas or somebody else, double check on. Now, you guys would do that too, right? Like for everybody. If he and his buddy are really thinking about we want to go to school together and all that stuff, but it's a great point.
You know what? Listen, at the end of the day, again, when Catch talks about responsible adult, we got to say we're not doing this thing that we're only going to make a decision based on your buddy. Okay, we got to do what's best for you. And if your buddy, if this, because right now, what you're walking into is literally a guy who will be in the hot seat come next year.
Year one.
Like your first, we walk in there, it's all going to be about, hey, what's he got to do to save his job? And then if he doesn't win, everything is going to be about who could be the next guys. And then the whole bottom is going to fall out. Jackson Arnold's going to transfer. Like we know this, right?
That was confirmed today.
What?
Oh, absolutely.
Because if he should have played today. Yeah. They should have come out of halftime and said, it doesn't mean he's the starter next week, but he's got to play the rest of the game.
But it would have burned the red shirt.
It would have burned the red shirt for him, though.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying in a world where he stays.
Yeah, right. I got
he should have played today.
Hey, somebody else should have. It is.
Yeah, Casey Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, Anwar, it's football criminal what they did to Hawkins
Casey
today.
Thompson today.
That's rude.
They have to answer the Jackson Arnold question.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So what they did instead is hang this freshman out to dry and let that kid go through all of that and show that he wasn't ready for the moment. And you make him eat that whole 4 quarters of inept offense.
South Carolina players watching film this week.
Oh my God.
The defensive players.
Yeah. Right. They're thinking to themselves, oh, hell, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. We win that thing for sure.
They're going to say if they get into the end zone twice, we should all lose our scholarships. That guy sucks.
Right. And would we all agree 17 wins the game?
Yes. Next week, yeah.
You would think, right? Anwar, if I told you South Carolina scores 17, do they win?
100%.
I agree.
100%.
Yeah.
And look, South Carolina's quarterback isn't that great, but he's better than OU's.
Yes.
Oh, he's definitely better. And today he had his moments where he shows off.
He had a chance. He had a chance to win that game in the end, though. He blew it twice.
He did. That's true. But he showed you the moment. Well, here's the limb. He showed you moments where he's a lot better than Hawkins. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Yes.
That's true. That's a wild battle. I never would have thought South Carolina and Oklahoma was going to feel like that at the beginning of the year. All right. Some more super chats. $4.99 from Blake. Thank you, Blake. Texas has given up 3 touchdowns all year, and 2 of those were in garbage time. Boy, it's a sobering way to think about it for everybody else.
Very good on defense.
Yeah, and that's the trust part. I keep saying it, guys. You love your team because of the offense, but you trust your team because of the defense. This defense makes you trust them. Now let's see if they can do it in the game everybody's been thinking about.
Hey, and you know what,
Can they do it against Beck?
You know what, Catch? Good for Pete K, to be doing this where Gary Patterson isn't getting all the credit for it. Like, I'm actually happier for him that it's happening now than when it would have happened previously, and everyone would say, "See, that's because of Gary Patterson." Like, at least everyone has to say, like, "No, that's Pete K."
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you for that super chat. Here's one on Gunnar Helm, who had a nice day. 199. Buy or sell. Helm's draft stock moves up around after today. Was it that good?
Well, he's moving up, period.
Yeah.
I saw that on the game they showed that he was Mel Kiper's number 9 tight end in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
He's going higher than that. I don't know. I don't know where he gets drafted, but I know he's not the 9th best tight end in the draft. If someone wants to make the statement, and look, I want to say Tom G made this statement, or Tom, I'm either giving you credit or you earned it, because I hear so many things from people that it's hard to remember who says them.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say that Tom G said that Gunnar Helm was better than Jatavian Sanders before the season started.
Oh, okay.
And that's not I thought that was wild. It's not. He's playing better right now than he's at least playing as well as Sanders did a year ago.
Well, we go all the way back to Anwar. Correct me if I'm wrong, was it your report back in the spring talking about Helm and what a source was saying about Helm, the athleticism, and then it kind of reminded them of Sanders, or maybe even was a little better than Sanders?
Yes.
That was you, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. I mean, back then, I remember the reaction from some people was like, oh, that's crazy that Tom G, I earned it. I earned it.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah. And yes, I reported. I remember Alex saying it was cockamamie. So,
right.
So I absolutely, my pettiness do remember.
I was about
those
to say
things.
Petty Onward took that mental note.
But yeah, and hey, we
totally
know,
took the mental note.
Catch, you talked about it this week with the Billy Bowman, Michael Taft discussion. When you're talking about Helm and you're comparing him to JT Sanders, there is a certain bias built into that discussion that some people maybe can't get through. But this dude, and you said it today, Catch, nobody loves hurdling people more than Gunnar Helm does. He is a hurdling fool right now.
I saw a guy later in the game get chopped down at the legs along the sideline, and I was like, should have jumped in the air, man.
That's why you jump, right?
They can't ruin your knees if they can't hit them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
By the way, hey, Catch, with all the stuff that you started, you didn't really start a lot. It was actually kind of fun. When Michael Taft, though, comes off the edge, was there like I told you so kind of moment that you have? Okay.
I immediately said that sack was more impressive than the interception.
He did immediately. It took like a half a second.
I was like, Quinn threw him the ball and he caught it. He didn't do anything. That was actually, he did something to make the sack.
He did have to get close to the ground, though. The ball was close to the ground.
I said he caught the ball.
He had to,
I'm giving him credit for catching the pass that was thrown right to him.
You have to be stretched out and
he
so you don't cramp up.
Down to the ground very well.
Yeah, that's true.
Look, and I love Billy Bowman as a player. I really do. Like, I think he's really, really good. He wasn't today.
He wasn't.
He had one tackle the entire game.
Yeah.
Boy, he was on the field long enough to get a couple.
All right. By the way, this is kind of funny. Catch. Look at this one. Oscar back in with a super chat, $9.99. Then the same name, different picture. Oscar says $4.99 super chat. Sorry, guys, it's just my father. Apologies for his lackluster chat. See, there we go. We had Oscar Jr. is our guy.
Wow, we double Oscar.
See, I knew
Oscar squared.
I knew the name was right. It's just the picture was different.
Yes.
So we had Oscar Jr. in. Now we have Oscar Sr. So there you go. Not only two Oscars.
I do appreciate that.
The family is involved now. This is a $9.99 super chat from Steven. Buy or sell, spend $1,500 for 2 tickets to Texas, Georgia in Section 8 of DKR. Wow.
That's a question.
Yes.
No, it says buy or sell. Spend. He's asking.
Spend. Should he spend it?
Look, man, here's what I would say, okay?
Steven, you know you better than we do.
Look, forget about the money for a second. Because if the answer is I won't be able to pay rent or the mortgage, then the answer is no.
$7.50 a pop.
But if the answer is, you know what? This whole life that we live is about memories.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about, I need to do enough things on this earth that at the end of it, there's no regrets.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to have regret? Because he can get in cheaper than $7.50 a pop, He wants good seats. Section 8's a great place to sit in the stadium.
Section 8, badass seats, right? Yeah, that's different.
I say buy. Go. I'm not giving you the $9.99 back because that's the advice. It's not free.
Listen,
That's fair.
I'll go deep philosopher on you, but I will make it quick, Steven. You live one life, and this is it. So you know what? If that's what you're thinking about doing, we have no guarantees that you're going to, hey, you know what? I'm going to live to 100, so I got plenty of time. We don't know. So you know what? You live one life, go for it. Go and enjoy yourself. Like Ketch says, if it's about paying your bills, but if you can do it, go for it.
This is a double dog dare.
Yeah. Tom G. Just an I-1. He is. I think he's daring somebody to go 301.
He's waiting for he's waiting for you to also talk about how well endowed he is. I mean, that's probably true.
Tom G. Oh, we hear lots of stories about Tom G. The ladies, when they talk about Tom G, look out.
He's like Brad Pitt, but better.
They say the G stands for
G
something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he's actually Girth Ketchum, guys.
Yeah, to Steve, exactly. That's true. Steven, I think the guys gave you some good advice, and I certainly am not going to try to talk you away from it because I didn't spend quite that much to see Texas play Texas A&M, but it's not far off. So I am not going to say a word.
You're not judgy.
I'm not judgy, and I'm all about that experience argument, and I love going to games and concerts and all kinds of stuff. And I've never once looked back after those experiences and wanted the money back, ever. The experience is always better for me than, looking back and regretting. So that's a good way to look at it. All right, Mike, speaking of live music, $4.99 live from ACL Fest. Have a good time. Game ball for Wisner, Helm, and Kwiatkowski. Life is good, and OU sucks. Hook 'em with a big exclamation.
I must jump in and say
yes.
Thank you for the Mike. Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you, Mike.
Silas gets a game ball.
I was gonna say, let's get Silas one.
We can't leave Silas out on the game ball.
Silas gets a game ball, and the other little thing I give Silas a game ball for, I'm a sucker for a gutsy punt returner that will run up, catch a ball, and save you yards. Anwar, he saved Texas about, I'm gonna guess, like 30 combined yards on those punt returns. That dude ain't afraid of nothing when he returns punts.
Yeah, and actually, I got to look at the numbers. I felt like that OU punter was actually pretty decent. I'd have to go look at what his numbers were.
Bombs.
I bet it was good.
Yeah.
Yep. I bet you see a good number.
Yeah. Let me see if I look up the special teams. Yeah, he had he averaged 47.7 catch, and he had a long of 63.
No, I know he
had 2 over 50.
No, he was.
So he was. I mean, just there's a bright spot for them. He is their best player. I was looking at that. I'm like, well, he gets used a lot. At least they have one who can do it.
That's his.
But they obviously Bolden was really good.
Cody Carpentier jumping in to thank you, Cody, for $9.99. Danny Stutzman, who? Laughing emojis. # poor boy chat. There you go.
My mom. Hey, that's okay. That's okay.
Every little bit helps, Cody. Every little bit helps.
Cody, my mama used to always tell me, make your words sweet just in case you have to eat them. And that's what Stutzman has to deal with today.
No doubt. That's what rivalries are all about sometimes. Thomas, $5. OU is effed. They will eventually lose Fasusi, and BV only has 2 more years left at most. They are in a bad spot. Catch, you brought Fasusi up earlier. That is going to be one to maybe pay attention to. The Florida State thing and what's happened to them has already resulted in a couple flips for Texas. The most recent was this past week. How does Fasusi look at this situation? One way you could look at it, Anwar, is, boy, does OU, if it's about playing time, he can play in crimson and cream. No doubt about that.
I think, again, that's so short-sighted, though. I mean,
great players always want to play with great players.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been covering recruiting for 30 years. They want to play in their mind. They want to be legends. They want to win things. They want to. It's the reason why like the best soccer players want to go to Liverpool or Arsenal or Man City, right? I mean, it's why they don't go to Aston Villa, or it's why they don't go play for Burnley, because you can pay me a lot of money, cool, but I want to win things and be tested every day and be surrounded by guys like me. And if Oklahoma's playing really well, you know, you can say, look, we're players like you away from competing for things. Michael Fasusi today, add him to today's lineup, and he's just embarrassed. Nothing changes about the game, except he knows now what it's like to get pile driving like into the Cotton Bowl turf.
Yeah. The thing that he would need to ask, and this is where the adults in the room need to ask, it would be a simple question. Who on this team from an offensive standpoint is better now than they were a couple of years before?
No, it's a fair question.
Ooh.
I mean, one of the things we were even talking about with Bowman yesterday is he does not – the data says it. Like if you go to Pro Football Focus and look at their season grades, and I know cockamamie Pro Football Focus, but in their grading, he has digressed significantly since his sophomore year. And that looked like that today. He – other than that interception, I didn't see him today.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, that's
and
fair.
He's one of their 4 best players from an NFL draft standpoint.
And Anwar, you're saying the entire team, or did you just say offense? Or defense?
Well, I said offense because we were talking Fasusi.
Right.
And I mean, we can go to defense, but I'm specifically offense because that's the side of the ball. My question would be, hey, who on that offense can you say has gotten better? Now, who's better now than they were a year or two ago?
If it's anybody, and I don't know who it would actually be, it's got to be one of those receivers. If it's anyone,
if they're healthy,
if they're healthy, and it's anybody, it's one of those receivers that if we really looked
Nick
at
Anderson or it's Jalil Farouk or somebody like that.
My gut would say Anderson is the first guy that popped in my head, Anwar, when you said it. Maybe
I know this. I wouldn't want to play with any of those offensive linemen.
But oh my God, yeah, no, they're. I mean,
who are you blocking for going forward?
Right, and what are you blocking?
I'm just saying, like that kid's got to make. If the business decision is Oklahoma, cool. I mean, that's fine, right? Like go where you are going to be happiest. But if playing at a high level, winning things matter, it can't be Oklahoma. They are, and he's got to. It's there in front of him.
Right.
What they are is there to be absorbed. And here's the other thing. I don't remember if Fasusi's a midterm guy or not, but he doesn't have to sign a letter of intent. So,
well, it's true. May not have to if they get rid of it. Have they decided officially to get rid of that?
I think
that's where it's headed, right?
That's where it's headed.
It's headed in that direction.
Yeah.
But there's. I think Alex did something a few years ago, Catch, and I think typically, no matter what, a lot of times the teams in year 2, the coaches in year 2 don't always get better by year 3.
No, that's
for the most part, they are who they are.
Anwar, golly, I bet Alex would tell you, I wish you had said that exact comment a week ago because he could have updated the data from that column. And it always is interesting to see that coaching data point because there are some trends that if those things happen, I wonder how – I may even mention that to Alex and say, hey, just FYI, I know you got to grade the game and everything else, but if there's a way to update your data from just the last couple of years –
that might be a good war room thing for him, Catch.
Yeah, you're right.
That'd be a really good war room. I think he's always looking for something like
because he doesn't have to do the whole study. He just has to add the results from the last couple of years.
A couple more super chats I see here. Here's a 5 spot from Jay. What's up, Jay? How long does this band, coaching staff, stay together? Another season like last year, and teams are going to start poaching. Who most likely to leave? A coaching staff question for Texas here. Anwar, you want to hit that first?
I think Nansen would be a good candidate. He's probably like number 1 for me. Probably the one I think he's done a great job. I think he's got the Sark co-signing on him. This defense is rolling. These linebackers, I mean, everyone, his positional guys look amazing, right? And so I think he's my natural because like that guy. the guy linebacker coach who just left the previous year. So I think he's number one for me, Catch. I'm trying to think of who might be number two, but I definitely know he's number one.
He's easy number one.
Yeah.
What about a guy like Tashard Choice? Is that a guy that you think there's interest in other places, or the guy that sticks
I think
around?
he's got to get to the OC portion first before he can get there.
Right.
So not quite sure. The good thing for Texas, though, Chad, is that they've paid these guys well enough that they don't have to just take regular jobs.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. They're all getting paid $1 million, $5 million, close to $2 million. They're not. So whatever the job is has to be a major Power 5 job.
Yeah.
But it's not just to go to a Texas State, which, by the way, it's a good program. So I'm not just missing them.
Right.
But you got to come strong if you want to grab one of their guys.
These guys also know that the Arch thing starts next year.
Oh,
and
good
they
Lord,
they
yes.
won't
Yeah.
want to miss out on
How
that.
do you not want to be in on 2 years of that? Plus, guys, and this speaks right to Arch as well, the advantage Texas has, especially if you're a fan looking at it, is you don't have to worry unless the NFL wants your head coach and your head coach wants the NFL. You do not have to worry about losing your offensive play caller.
Yeah.
You know,
No.
your head coach and your offensive play caller are the same guy in a modern, dynamic, offensive world of college football, and that's exactly how he feels, and that's how he calls plays, and that makes you feel the best about it. You're not having to worry about losing your OC to, Anwar, you don't have to worry about lighting up a team 58-3, and then the next thought in your mind as a fan is, oh, Lord, somebody's coming after him next year. Like, Texas fans don't have to worry about that at the college level.
There's two things. One, first of all, if I'm AJ Milwee, I'm buttering up Arch now. I'm like, yo, if anytime you want to mention me in an interview, that would be kind of cool. Like, I mean, no pressure. You can mention that. But the second thing is, look, I think if you're a Texas fan, you want a program like Nick Saban had, where the guys are coming in and they're leaving, and then that's okay because you're replacing them with badass guys going forward. So you can't that's a healthy staff, and it's okay if that happens. What happened?
Yeah, sorry. We saw that this super chat, Anwar, just came in from Sugar Poppy, $5. Tight end Bauer Sharp was asked what was the message from co-OC Seth Luttrell following the game. Quote, he didn't talk.
I told you that guy's trash. I told you that guy. I told you. I know it. I could tell this guy is in over his head. This was a horrible hire by them. He had nothing on his resume that says I can do this.
Let's knock out our last super chat, guys. You can stop with them. We've been going for 2.5 hours. So at some point.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Let's go right here.
We've got two left.
Two left. Okay. $5 from Hooked on the Horns. Texas has given up 0 touchdowns against OU in 2 of the last 3 Red River games. PSOU sucks. That is good news. Those 2 ball games. Yeah. You give up a field goal and that's it. 49-0.
Won by
today.
Combined.
Come on. Get it. Hit it.
I mean, they won by 80. So it's what, 83-3? What is it, 82-3?
49 and 34, right?
So, 83.
Yeah, right. 83-3.
In 2 of the last 3 games, you've won 83-3.
That is not bad at all. Hooked. Thank you for that math. I know the folks are loving that.
That's
all right.
That's embarrassing.
We got that one, and then one last one from Chris.
They're going to fire that dude. I mean, it's so obvious.
Yeah, Brandon Harris with a bat signal. What are your sources saying?
There's any number of guys. The thing is, we're at that point where a bat signal can be a 2026 guy, a 2027 guy. It could be a 2025 guy. They're going to be fewer. They're going to start being really picky in 2025.
Because a Texas fan's hoping that the bat signal means Fasusi walked out, tried to contact the coaches on his way out of the stadium or something.
People forget when you say these things. By the way, they're putting that. It's all that Anthony Hill.
Mm-hmm. The picture jersey. Anwar put up. They just threw that up on the halftime show. Anwar of Washington and Oregon.
Whew. Trust me, OU fans will have seen that.
They deserve it, though. They deserve it.
No, hey, man, to the victor go to spoils. You did that last year.
That's what rivalries are about.
Yeah.
Dudes were getting tattoos.
Ted, I mean, the playoff means the games won't mean anything anymore.
Sure it won't.
Didn't he get a tattoo last year too?
Yes.
That's
Yeah, he did. Hell yeah, he did.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
man.
cool.
That's
It's
what crazy
really
people in
corny.
rivalries do.
He
That's
wasn't
really
the only
corny.
one.
No.
He wasn't
Yes.
the only one.
No,
That's really
crazy
corny.
rivalries are all about being crazy rivalries. All right. I think that is going to wrap it up.
I think he got it on his leg, and it was like, well, every time you sit down, it's a hook him in your face.
Right, because it's upside down to everybody
upside
else.
It's upside
yeah.
down to everybody else,
God,
but when he
just-
when he sits down, there's constantly a hook 'em horn in front of him.
How many times do you think a tattoo artist thinks to themselves, well, you just can't account for stupid. Lay down and let's do it.
It
Like,
does
I mean,
once a night.
right. At least once a
Yes.
day, they're thinking, well, you're an
Yes.
idiot, but you're paying
Okay,
me.
You
So
want the tickle me Elmo on your penis, but okay, I'm here to make money. I don't judge. But yeah, you're probably going to ask a question tomorrow. you
Yeah.
know?
By the way, Anwar, we hadn't showed you the floor of the card house yet, but this is for today. This is the lounge area there in the background. We got people playing.
It
Live.
looks like they turned the 16 screen into an 8 screen and a 2-4 screen.
See, right? They got those.
It's just like a sports book in Vegas, man.
Right.
That's exactly. It's exactly what it is, Anwar.
It had that feel.
Mhm.
We had a great time today. The seating, like we'll do more of these watch parties, and I think the thing we just got to convince people, like half of this is a sports book without the sports book, but it's got everything that
Yeah.
you'd want to have in a sports book to have a good time, and you don't have to come play cards.
Yeah, especially if moving forward, I agree with you. If what we're seeing right now is accurate, if we could get the 4x1s on the outside activated with different games, and then the middle 16x1 is just the
Yes.
game where, oh my God, then we got it. Then
We might do that next week.
maybe do it. Maybe do it for Texas, Georgia. 6:30 kick for the Longhorns and the Dogs when hopefully Bevo and Uga will get back together. I have no confirmation that Uga's actually making the trip, but I hope that he is because we need a photo op with those two next week. 6:30 kick on that one, and it is an ABC game. Anwar, before we wrap up, anything else from you from Dallas before you head back home?
Hey, well, yeah. I mean, I gotta. All right, so I'm gonna do this whole thing where everyone always said like you shouldn't be at the fairgrounds at night. So we're about to do an experiment here.
Hey,
Oh,
man.
Chad will tell you he's been out there. It's okay.
I have been to plenty of concerts, Anwar, right in that area. I'm pretty sure I know where you parked for this game, and I've parked many a night at a concert, and we got home fine every time. So I believe in Dallas's ability to let you get home safely.
Well, my final thing will be the final super chat of the night, which is for Onward constantly rocking a suit in that Texas heat. Thank you, Solo Sonic. I absolutely appreciate
it
that.
was 94 today.
Hell
It
yeah.
it was hot as hell, man. Let me tell you like this, Catch. My girl is here and her son is here. My boys are here, and I was standing online to try to get these guys coupons, and I was like, "Boo! I'm just gonna sell you. Like I'm out. Like I
Here's
can't."
a lot of money. Here's the card. Like you,
And I
I'm
was
going
like,
to
yeah,
find the
just
air conditioning.
Yeah, like I'm like I can't do this. Like this is ridiculous. Like y'all have fun. So, hey. I'll have a column up tomorrow morning. Catch and I will be back on Monday. We'll have, some overreactions and going into a really cool week. So that's kind of my final thought. Thank you guys for watching and supporting.
There you go. Thank y'all for liking, subscribing, getting those notifications. Up over 1,300 of you in the Specs chat as we get ready to close it up. Thanks again to TCH Social. That is where we will be next week for Texas and Georgia. Thanks to the Lowy Law Firm as well. Of course, the presenting sponsor of the postgame show.
Speaking of the big man.
One more thing.
Yeah, man. I just looked. We got 191 thumbs up.
Okay.
Come on, people. That's not good.
Oh, that's not good.
That needs to be like 1,000.
Damn.
Texas just beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, we had like 1,400. On your way out,
hit the thumbs up button.
On this way, you can like on the way out. Remember that when you
Don't
get done.
give us a like. Texas just beat the crap out of Oklahoma.
Give Silas Bolden a like.
Give
if
Silas
nobody
Bolden
else.
a thumbs up.
Can he get a like for one of the most crazy, cool, team-oriented plays we've ever seen in our lives? Come on now. So remember to like and subscribe and get those notifications. Thank you for supporting Orange Bloods Live. Thanks to the Lowy Law Firm. And again, TCH Social will be back here next week for Texas and Georgia. Y'all have a great week. Texas is 6-0 and the number one team in the country. Texas, Georgia, next week should be fun. Y'all take care. Be careful coming back from Dallas. Safe travels, obviously, to Anwar and everybody that's headed back down 35 or wherever you're going. Get there safely. And